Welcome, everybody, to Fat Guys on a Little Podcast. I'm your co-host, Steve Mark. Always joined by
Charles there.
This is one of the last podcasts at the end of June. We won't be back next week. Charles will be
going
on
out of
vacation.
town.
He does get a vacation. Actually, we get more days off than our father, who's retired. But before we go there, we got a special guest from the Chicago area. BV, how you doing?
Yo.
Yeah, right. Well put.
Very elaborate.
Bill was last night with us. He's with us on most live streams.
Living because he's from Chicago, obviously, and everything. So we got to Skype him in.
Of course, because I have no life and have nothing better to do on a Saturday evening. So.
Well, neither do we. And before we go any further, of course, we want to wish your wife a happy birthday.
Yeah.
39 years old. Those kids.
Your wife of how many years? 7 years, right? Because you were married right when Lorna was pretty much born. So.
Yeah, 7 years now. You'll blink, it'll be 20.
Yeah. She hasn't gotten rid of BV yet.
Yeah. Well, so
give it time. Give it time.
Happily married in the Chicago area. And then someone else is going to be turning, what is it, Bill? 44?
I do not recall.
Yeah. Just like the rest of us old fucks. Except for Charles, he's a little younger.
Of course, you already did so.
Yeah. I got 44 gray chest hairs to go with each year. I'm like a tree. They get a new ring, I get a new gray hair.
Gray. Nose hairs.
Yeah, nose hairs. But before we start anything today, we're going to try a taste treat brought over by none other than one of the former Westland Businessmen of the Year, Randy Johnston. His wife, Sherry, made, and people could see it live.
It's got chunks in it. What's the chunks in it?
It's a cinnamon stick, I believe.
I got to ask the question, and I talked about this yesterday on the live cast. So this is homemade apple moonshine.
Yeah, apple pie moonshine.
This had better not be like homemade, like she distilled it.
I don't know. I'm assuming
we go blind. I'm suing Randy.
I'm assuming she bought regular moonshine and just flavored
and
it up.
zhuzhed it up. Yeah.
But then again, if you look at that
like
jar, that's a very generic jar.
This is a straight up mason jar.
Yeah, and it looks like a canning jar from.
I guess if you're gonna get moonshine, you know what I mean?
Guess.
Like.
So, Bill, we may all go blind here shortly.
Yeah, BV, you're a lawyer.
That looks pretty janky. I have to say.
You can see it, Bill? Yeah.
I went onto the live stream. I'm sure I'm a little behind, but
yeah, it looks like
got
a jar
a
of sewer
cinnamon
water.
stick in the. I mean, it's got chunks. It's gonna be chunky.
All right,
Just
so pour us a couple drinks. We're gonna chew a shot here of the apple pie moonshine. Now we're gonna compare this.
Whoa.
What? Oh, yeah, we're gonna compare this to Eric Wigington. He brought regular apple pie moonshine, which was
good. Yeah. So we've had two moonshines on the podcast.
Yes.
The vanilla one, which we still have to up top from Scott from the Float Institute, and then Wiggs brought an apple pie one.
Yeah.
Both of them are really good.
Yeah, both of them were good. We didn't have to chew either one of them. They were both clear, so I'm not sure what's happening here.
The homemade moonshine should be a lot stronger than the other stuff you guys had.
Yeah, she made it. She distilled it in her toilet. She was like in prison.
If this is like a bathtub gin, I'm pissed. It reeks of cinnamon. I mean, just smells of cinnamon.
Wow, that is very cinnamony. The smell, anyways.
So it is super cloudy, super chunky.
We're drinking cinnamon sewer
reeks
water.
of cinnamon, and we're about to do this.
All right, here we go.
You guys might want to keep that scotch handy in case you need something to clear everything out.
It wasn't that strong.
No, not at all.
Usually
I would argue it tastes like cider.
Yeah, it tastes like apple cider, to be honest.
I wonder if she just put cider and alcohol or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find. I find out the deets.
I'll be honest with you. Thank you to his wife for trying to get. It just I feel like I'm chewing on cinnamon potpourri.
It's a lot of cinnamon.
It's a lot of cinnamon, dude.
But it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No, I'm not saying it's not terrible. In the pantheon of the three moonshines we've tried, though,
it's the worst.
I'm not going to say that because she was nice enough to come.
Well,
it's not as good,
as
the other two. It's not.
But those were professionally done moonshines. This was done in a lady's bathtub.
I mean, it is. I am chewing on potpourri. It's like I ate like a whole pack of Big Red right now.
So kiss a little longer.
So Steve will get the deets of how she made it, maybe post it on the website or something if anyone wants to try their hand at making up their own homemade apple moonshine.
When you take a shot of alcohol and it burns a little bit.
There's no burn.
There's no burn at all. I can see you could easily drink a bottle of that and probably not even get drunk.
And be hammered.
Well, man, you would be less life. But
and Charles hit the floor.
Regular alcoholics would probably just swallow it down and not have a problem.
I just question if you drank a ton. Like, it's so much cinnamon. I wonder if you can back that down.
I don't see the point if you can buy already flavored moonshine.
I mean, why did I make my own beer? It's neat to do things, and everyone needs a hobby.
Yeah, I guess, or make your own belts. When you just go buy
you
a
know what
belt.
I mean? Or why are you making your own Bumblebee toys? You know what I mean?
It's a model.
Or you can just Google how to make apple moonshine, and there's a recipe already. I'm looking at a recipe now.
Give us the
liquor does
recipe,
it-
BB.
Yeah,
I'm
what does
just
it say?
curious.
What liquor is in that?
All right, this is
This
from
is straight up Google search.
allrecipes.com.
Which has usually pretty good stuff.
Yeah,
It's apple pie moonshine. The ingredients are 1 gallon apple juice, 1 gallon apple cider, 2 cups white sugar, 2 cups brown sugar, 4 cinnamon sticks or more to taste, 1 pinch apple pie spice, 1 bottle 190 proof grain alcohol.
So yeah,
1
there's your
bottle
moonshine.
vodka, and then it says combine apple juice, apple cider, white sugar, brown sugar, and cinnamon sticks in a large
lot of
pot.
sugar
Bring
I
almost
just
to a
ingested.
boil.
Yeah.
Cover pot with a lid. Reduce heat. Simmer for an hour. Blah blah blah.
That sounds like what she did.
Stir grain alcohol and vodka into syrup and remove cinnamon sticks. Did she not remove the cinnamon sticks?
There's a strip cinnamon stick in that piece.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to remove the cinnamon sticks. And then it says pour apple pie moonshine into clean glass jars or bottles. Store in the refrigerator.
Can you buy just straight up grain alcohol like that? Is that a common thing? I'm asking.
You can.
Well,
Yeah, you can buy grain alcohol.
I'm
It
just
does
glad
say
I still have
also
my
that
vision as well. So she didn't distill the
Yeah.
moonshine.
One of the cook notes does say try putting a cinnamon stick in each container if you like a lot of cinnamon.
Yeah, that's where, and that's what I would argue if I would to give Randy's wife some feedback.
No cinnamon.
No
stick
cinnamon
next time.
stick in it, and it probably tastes really good. I think that, and then Steve's diabetes because there's a lot of sugar beads just right off. We're gonna cut Steve's leg
I'm
off.
gonna have to go take some metformin more. I gotta take more metformin just one shot of moonshine.
72 grams of sugar
Ooh,
Steve just drank.
That was a lot of sugar built. Oof. So there you go. Homemade apple pie moonshine from Sherry.
Would you give it a
Johnston.
thumbs up?
I mean, it wasn't bad. If it was at a party, whatever, it's fine.
If someone told you they made it, it'd be good. But I would tell them feedback wise, take the cinnamon stick out of it.
Yeah. And if I had a choice between the one Wiggs bought or this one, I'd take the one Wiggs bought.
But it didn't kill you with the cinnamon.
Yeah, but in the Wiggs one, I feel the one Wiggs bought was stronger. It felt stronger, anyways.
Well, but I think that's kind of why we like the moonshines, though, is they don't really kick you with the alcohol side. They just got a good flavor, like the vanilla one that's right up top there. Tastes great. I mean, it tastes like,
Speaking of which, Bill, our resident alcohol expert, does Abby like moonshine?
She doesn't drink anymore.
Oh wow!
When
What
that
brought
happen?
that on?
The medication she takes, it doesn't work with it. So
Well, pre-medication days, like Mike Spicer. and
she would drink.
pre-injury
Yeah,
days.
she would occasionally get that, like the jarred moonshine, that stuff you get from the store, kind of like what Wiggs brought over.
We're a big fan of it. I mean, I think it
Yeah,
does. I think it
she
tastes
liked it.
good. Yeah. If you're gonna, I think that's my problem with a lot. So we've had now a litany of distilled spirits on this podcast, way more than again the 40 years of my life on everything I drank. But I think that you want something that tastes good, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm just crazy like that.
Yeah.
But no, everyone drinks because of the label.
Well, I think the term moonshine always seemed to imply that it would be
made in
super
a bathtub
powerful.
somewhere and be super
And it's
powerful.
probably better that it's not, right? Who wants to drink essentially like flavored Everclear?
Yeah. I'll pass.
Yeah. So here's some rubbing alcohol. Don't you drink that with a little apple flavoring in it?
But yeah, so big thumbs up to Randy. What is Randy's wife's name?
Sherry.
Sherry did a great job with it, but just maybe take the cinnamon sticks out of it.
Yeah, a little too much cinnamon for my taste. So now there's no real sports right now besides baseball, and none of us really care about that.
There was a golf event, the Senior Open.
nobody cares about that either.
It was from the Notre Dame field, though. It was from Warren Golf
there was
Course.
one in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't care. but anyway, so I end up watching a lot of movies, a lot of Netflix. Charles does, but he just does naturally, but mostly TV shows.
Yeah.
So this week we're gonna be a little busy. I'm gonna crack through these pretty quick. Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this is released direct to DVD. This is, I always told you on this.
Direct to Blu Ray. Please
Blu-ray.
tell me you didn't get a
No,
DVD.
I got a Blu-ray.
I'm like, oh my God.
But I always tell you about these. These are the DC ones
Yeah.
that get released, and I like them a lot, except for this one.
Was it the story that was the issue?
Yeah, and it was weird. It was like they wanted to be kind of realistic and violent, but then they wanted to be the turtle slapstick stuff too.
So you can't say like Cowabunga, here's a pizza dude.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like get gritty dark.
Yeah,
in the
here's a
next-
great
yeah.
example. So Shredder and Ra's al Ghul are breaking into Arkham Asylum, and they're cutting people's heads off.
Dude,
And they
it's pretty
show
intense,
it.
yeah.
and Shredder puts a blade through a guy's chest.
Oh, okay. We're
But
getting
then-
real.
Yeah, but then like the next scene, there's Batman and Michelangelo eating pizza, yelling "Cowabunga." So it's like, It was all over the place.
It's got
as
a
far as
weird tone issues.
Yeah, and then they drew them weird. They had like this weird animation.
I saw it when I was at your house. I thought it looked good. I don't know.
There was parts where it's like they had these dark black lines that were supposed to be shadows, but it didn't look right when they were running and stuff. Unfortunately, I'm giving a thumbs down to Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which should be right up Steve's alley.
Are Turtles a DC character, or is this like out? I thought Turtle was Image.
Technically, yes. Their Image. They're owned by their creators. Yeah.
Okay. So
Peter
they can
Laird
farm
and
them
Kevin-
out to whoever.
Yeah, and pretty much most of their dealings is with Nickelodeon.
Okay.
So, like, even in the beginning of this movie, it says DC Comics and Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay.
So they
I
pretty
wondered
much
how
sold
they
their
came together.
They sold their soul to Nickelodeon.
How are they explaining? So are the Turtles in Gotham in it?
Yeah, they just came from New York. So New York exists in this world. And the Turtles and Shredder just left New York to come to Gotham, and Gotham exists. So, New York, Chicago, Gotham,
Okay, I get you.
Metropolis all
Yeah.
exist in this world. And
Okay.
this is pretty much what happened. But it wasn't that great, unfortunately. So it's weird. So if you have little kids, you don't want them to watch Shredder behead people.
Yeah.
And then, but if
Who's
you're an
it
adult,
for? Yeah.
so they kind of mixed up the weird there. So thumbs down on Batman. Now this next one, Bill, do you like Rebel Wilson at all?
I don't mind her.
Yeah, I think that's what most people. Well, Charles hates her, but
I hate her. I'm like, don't even throw it
I
to
like
me.
her as like we said about Iglesias before the show started. I like her in like a supporting character act or whatever like this. In this movie, it's called Isn't Romantic. She's the main star, and it's just too much Rebel Wilson. It's just
What is the premise?
the premise
What's the
is
broad
she's a
stroke
chubby
premise?
girl who grew up never believing in romantic comedies. Her mom pretty much told her, for people like us, we don't get a romantic comedy you're having.
Okay.
So she hates romantic comedy. Even though she's seen them all and knows how all of them work, she hates them. Fast forward to her life. She's an architect, so her life's not too terrible, but her love life's terrible and everything else. Right along with every other story. She goes down the subway. She lives in New York. Guy tries to mug her. She smacks her head on a metal pole. When she wakes up, all of a sudden, real life has turned into a romantic comedy. Like every guy's into her and all these awkward.
Yeah,
So basically,
a 300-pound Cockney speaking
Yeah,
chubby. Yeah, great.
yeah, it's a funny concept. It's just
It's a modified form of Shallow Hal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what it sounds like. to
Pretty
me.
much,
Yeah.
and it's just too much Rebel Wilson. She should have been like the supporting friend and had somebody else play. I could see maybe Melissa Carthy or somebody else that could carry a movie a little bit better than her. It wasn't the greatest, but it was a unique concept. But yeah, I'd wait for cable if anybody's out there.
Who plays the male lead that's going in?
Liam Hemsworth.
Oh, jeez, really?
And the dude you saw, Adam Devine.
Yeah.
Adam Devine says her best friend in real life, and that's of course the one she ends up with. Spoilers, but that's the one, But Liam Hemsworth, she's after. She gets most of the movie. One funny scene though, she's gonna get her sex scene with Liam Hemsworth, but every time she'd just wake up in the morning because it was like a romantic comedy.
I get you, yeah.
So she
It's
kept
a-
trying
it's a
to
cut and paste.
Yeah,
thing,
so
yeah.
like 4 times she kept trying to do it.
Yeah,
and she kept waking
cut
up.
to it.
That was kind of funny, but other than that. I mean, unique concept. It just execution wasn't the greatest.
Did you go to the theater and see that?
No. All these this week are rentals. I did not go to the theater this week.
Steve got this from Redbox.
Yeah, Family Video is my source. Now the next one, we had Raven in studio. Raven
It's
said
the Jordan Peele second movie in his horror, phenomenon.
I made
style.
Holly and Michelle watch it with me.
Suspenseful.
This is called Us. It's another horror movie / Twilight Zone episode that went too long. I don't get it. I mean,
wow.
I get the movie. I don't get the hype behind it.
Wow.
I don't know why Raven was so shook. I mean, Holly, who's the biggest chicken in the world, sat through it and didn't get scared once.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't. I mean, a couple things. It's the most.
So which one's better? What's the first one? Get Out? Isn't the first one Get Out?
I didn't like Get Out either, but I would probably watch Get Out again before I watch
wow.
Us. It was such a weird, off the wall storyline.
Oh, okay.
The government in the 80s is raising clones of everybody in tunnels underneath like this city in California. And then they just bail on all these people and leave them down there because the clones aren't fully, they're kind of wacky and they're not acting normal. So then,
Obviously, they trickle out into society.
yeah, well, no, they make an uprising.
Oh, okay.
And then, but they're clones of everybody that's up top, and the timelines don't match, and it's just weird. And the main black family in the movie, their double evil version are the leaders of it, and the leaders are trying to take over. And it's not scary. I don't understand. It's a weird storyline. Didn't like it. Not a fan at all. Like the music. There's a lot of 90s R&B in it. I like that. And I like the one character from Black Panther. He was in it. I liked him. But other than that, if Jordan Peele doesn't do a comedy, I'm not interested.
Oh, wow.
This is 2 horror movies, 2 turds.
Keegan-Michael Key or whatever.
I'm sorry. I'm done. So I'm not a huge fan. Thumbs down to Us. So if anybody wants to go see that, Bill, you can go see that. It's good.
I'm not a horror movie guy at all, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call these like horror movies at this point. They're like
It
a
felt like
weird,
a-
suspenseful.
It felt like a weird Twilight episode.
yeah.
Twilight
well,
Zone.
it's befitting that he's on the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, because this
CBS
movie
Direct
matched
stuff,
it.
yeah.
It was like, they just did that to support him and whatever. I don't know, but
Because Get Out had a very much of a Twilight Zone vibe.
yeah,
to
and
it.
that was hokey too. But I've covered that in the past. But
his comedy's real hit or miss too. Like they do some pretty out there, or they did
yeah,
on Key and Peele. Some of the stuff would be really funny, and then some of it just you'd kind of shake your head like, what the hell was that?
I would say it was like a 90-10 rule with Key and Peele. 90% of it was just kind of like, okay, whatever, and then 10% of it is just bustingly hilarious.
yeah.
And
I'd
that
agree with
10% is phenomenal stuff, but that's
You have to
it's
sit through
hard.
how much crap you
yeah,
give that 10%.
that's the thing.
And no one mentions the 90%. You know.
Yeah, whereas like if you were to take like a Chappelle show,
Oh yeah.
like it's
that's almost
closer
the
to
other way.
almost like 60-40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that good. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, or Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live's
Saturday Night
90-10.
Live's probably like a 90-10.
Yeah. So did you get a chance to see I Am Mother on
Yeah,
Netflix?
so I watched. Let me say, I did watch the whole thing. I'm sure there's a twist incoming, but I watched probably 75% of that today, right before we were cooking dinner and all that kind of
You
stuff.
didn't get to see the ending?
I didn't get to see the ending.
Oh, I don't
Is
want to
it-
spoil it for you.
Okay, because I'm not into it at all.
Okay, maybe I will.
So here's the thing: you don't have to spoil it, but like. And again, I've chronicled on this show of how I want some more science fiction in my life. I just enjoy science fiction. This is like a stupid mystery with like a science fiction background. It doesn't even like check science fiction boxes. Like, yeah, there's like this dystopian future, or at least you're led to believe there is, where this robot is raising this girl, but then Hilary Swank knocks on the door and is trying to get in, but she was shot by a droid. What do you believe is more like so there's a science fiction angle to it, but it's not science fiction is what I would argue.
Yeah, and then it turns out they're both lying, the robot and Hilary Swank.
Okay, great.
So I don't
Turns
know
out that I'll get through it, but I'm definitely not waiting with
I think they
bated
missed
breath.
an opportunity here. There could have been a cross promotion with
For-
Terminator.
well, the one thing I'll tell you though, the effects in the show are phenomenal.
Yeah, the robot
I don't
was-
want to call it a show.
that's
The
a
movie.
that's a practical effect. That robot.
That is amazing.
That
The
robot is.
effects and like even the embryonic stuff and stuff. They did a great job. Whatever the production team that's attached to that, give them some real content and have them run because it was great.
Yeah,
but
they did a good job with that.
I just I'll get through it. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Bill, are you big into sci-fi, or you could give two shits?
not at all. Into
Yeah,
sci-fi.
you wouldn't want to watch this one.
I saw a trailer for it.
Well, I would say that this is probably, to me, touches, if you're not into sci-fi, but you're like into conspiracy theory kind of things, or like those weird misdirection kind of things, this checks more of those boxes. So if you like a reveal, that's kind of what this is. Like, if you're trying to like peel back the layers of an onion to figure out what something's really trying to tell you, that's the kind of story it was. But it just has very small sci-fi trappings to me. But again, I think it looked beautiful. That was the one thing I took away from it. Like, if Netflix can get some legit content, like they're doing some great production.
The only thing
value.
you didn't get as far as I did. I finished it obviously. There's a scene where they go out on a beach and it's got like shipping containers and a wrecked boat.
It looks a little soundstagey.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, it looks
okay.
a bad CG. is what it
Oh,
looks like.
okay.
That part, out of that, that's the only thing that looks
Like you
off.
said, the robot and stuff like that, they did just an amazing job. And then like that, whatever the ship or the station that she's in feels very lived in and cool. I was impressed by that. I'm just not impressed by the story.
Yeah, they missed an opportunity. They could have really tied that into Terminator. I don't know how far you got, but the robots are the ones that wiped out humans.
Okay, well, the droid shot Hilary Swank, so that would make sense.
yeah,
or at least
so-
she's implying.
I don't know.
Shot her.
Should I spoil it for you or should I not? I mean,
I'll finish it. Don't worry about it. Because anyone else who's watching it,
Yeah.
check it out if you're into, like I said, like a peel back the layers of what's really going on here. But don't come to it if you want true science fiction. Is my review of the movie so far.
So the big spoilers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The big reveal is the main mother robot. She's part of a network. So you can blow that robot up, but all the ones that are killing humans outside are all part of her.
Sure.
She runs all of them. That's the big reveal. So the young girl thinks.
So Hillary Swank is on her way in to kill off all the robots that are killing.
Yeah, but
the
it doesn't matter because once the mother robot does get killed, her consciousness just
transfers.
So it didn't matter. Hillary Swank's character is kind of left up in the air at the end, and the girl ends up moving back into where the mother is and raising her baby brother. She has a baby brother that gets born, and that's how it ends.
I'll be honest with you, even you just told me, I'm just not into it.
Yeah, it was hard.
And
to
like
make
you
it through.
said, could it have been cool if you tied in like a true Terminator angle, like Cyberdyne and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I just whatever.
It's like it felt like it could have been a prelude to Terminator. If they could have tied it in there somewhere, that would have been a little interesting at least.
Yeah,
but
I think you're reaching for
Yeah.
like actually trying to give it some chops that I don't think it would have ever gotten either way.
it's just the Netflix normal where it's like, yeah.
But again, I want to go on the record of saying if they can get that production value and give it some legit writing and content, I think I'm into it, and that's my takeaway from it.
Yeah,
it looked top notch.
It did. And Hillary Swank was fine. The girl was fine as actors and stuff. It just the story was just kind of whatever.
Yeah, that's
It sounds like an Ayn Rand book that becomes a conspiracy theory movie.
I don't know what I'll take your word for it, but not so far for me. It's a thumbs down. I'll get through it, but I'm not telling anyone to turn off this podcast and turn it on right now.
So right now I'm batting 0 for 4 for the week. Batman was a turd. Incident Romantic's a turd. Us was a turd. I Am Mother. So the kid. Now this one I mentioned in a podcast.
It's got big names in it.
Ethan Hawke.
This
Chris
is the one
Pratt.
we didn't hear much about.
Yeah, it's a Western, and it's actually directed by the guy who plays Kingpin off of Daredevil. Well, D'Onofrio or whatever his name is.
Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yeah, him. He directed it. I got to say about this movie, God, is it boring.
Oh, yeah, wow.
This is a Western.
So they're trying to give you like the feel of like this lived-in thing, but it's like it's so slow. You're like, okay, yeah.
So it starts as a young boy. He's 14 years old. He's got an older sister, 16, and the dad's a drunk that's beating the shit out of the mom, about to kill the mom. Well, the boy pulls a gun and shoots the dad. Chris Pratt is the dad's brother, so the kid's uncle.
I already tuned you out.
I know. Well, I'm telling you. So basically, throughout the whole movie,
Chris Pratt was evil in it.
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt and his crew are looking for that boy to kill him and to take his sister.
Okay.
And they're going to put his sister in a whorehouse.
Okay.
And then in the meanwhile, Ethan Hawke is a sheriff at a local town. He's after Billy the Kid, which I thought the movie, that's what it was about, was Billy the Kid. But no, it's about
kid, yeah.
Billy the Kid's kind of
kid
the side
being
character in the
sister,
back. Yeah. And it just goes on and on. It's 2.5 hours, and it's a lot of walking and slow riding.
Yeah.
And, oh, man.
And you knew it was a dud because you didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah.
And you've got big names attached to it. So
Yeah.
it had to be a dud.
Seeing Chris Pratt as a villain was kind of neat. He cussed a lot, and he was kind of crazy. That was kind of neat. But other than that,
Avoid.
yeah,
huh?
avoid that movie. I was really
Straight to
disappointed.
Blu Ray, right? I think it's a straight to Blu Ray release.
It came
That
at the
could be-
theater
for like a
last
hot
fall.
second
Yeah, it
then.
did.
Yeah.
And same thing with the other.
Because
West-
when I
saw
remember
2 westerns this week. So,
Jeez.
yeah.
But to your point, when it came up on Rapid Fire, I had never even heard of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You got to be a diehard loser like me to know about it.
yeah.
Now, Bill, do you like Mike Epps back in the day?
He was all right.
Yeah, I always found him really funny. Charles, now you watched.
Yeah, so I watched 2 stand-ups. So there was 2 new ones that just came out. One's name's Adam Devine, The Best Times of Our Lives, which is the guy from Workaholics.
Hey, he was in the Romantic.
And he was you recognize him immediately. He's the main guy from Workaholics, but he was in like Pitch Perfect.
He's in a ton of
He's
stuff.
in a lot of stuff as
He's
like
gonna
that
be in that new
supporting
Danny
funny
McBride
guy.
show too.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, it was a funny ass stand.
Was he?
Dude, it was good. It was so like you go in with like low expectations. Like here's kind of this like sitcom-y kind of like you said, romantic comedy kind of best friend guy. I laughed some chuckles. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was really good.
Adam Devine, very funny.
Yeah, big thumbs up to that one. Good premise stuff. And
He
like,
also showed up on Modern Family. He was on
he
Modern
was
Family
he
for a
played
little bit.
Haley's boyfriend for a little bit, and he's super humble, which is really funny. Like he kind of gives you like his impressions of like being like an everyman who gets into this Hollywood game. It's pretty funny, man. I did laugh at that one. And then like we were just talking about, it's called Mike Epps Only One Mike. This shit is hilarious too, man. He's got some funny pantomimes, and he's another dude that's super humble, can rip on himself at the same time too. Both of these, and again, Netflix. avoid their original like movies and stuff. The
stand-ups
stand-ups,
are
man,
good.
I can't get enough of them. They're both just funny
I'll
stuff.
have to check because like the last
That
one I
Mike
saw,
Epps one's had. There's a handful. I don't want to spoil too much of his content. If you got Netflix, definitely check it out.
they both lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I liked both of them. I liked a big thumbs up for both of those.
I gotta watch that.
stand-ups.
See, I watched
enjoyed
Wanda
them.
Sykes and thought it sucked.
Yeah, I didn't.
So,
That wasn't very good.
Oh, you saw it too, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
To
kinda-
your point, little politics stuff, and these two keep it kind of lighthearted, just kind of talking about like everyman stuff, and it's really funny, man. I was totally entertained by both of these stand-ups. If I had to pick one of the two, I just love Mike Epps. I find him to be like a really funny dude, man. He's just hilarious. But watch both of them if you got Netflix. Super good stand-up specials.
Oh,
Hey, do either one of you guys have satellite radio still?
I do.
Okay, do you ever listen to that Netflix as a joke radio channel?
Yeah, I've skimmed through it a little bit.
What are they doing? Just audio only of their
Yeah,
stand-ups?
They just run through and they play just clips from Netflix stand-ups.
They had
That's
a-
really cool.
They had a Dane
Yeah, we'll
Cook
sit there in the
segment
car
on
for like
it,
an
so.
hour at a time and just sit there and listen to the clips.
Yeah, that's a really good because
There's a lot of they got like 5 stations that do that on Sirius now.
that's great. I mean,
Raw
because
Dog,
it
couple
is in listening a pretty big listener of the Joe Rogan stuff and stuff like that. It's a great time to be a stand-up fan. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We talk about like
Yeah.
how great it is to be an MMA fan, not so much for a wrestling fan.
Oh.
But I tell you this much, it's a great time to be a stand-up fan. It really is, man. There's a lot of content, and I think a lot of good content too. I can't speak, and I think I'm with you and Steve on this one here, BB. Like sometimes the politics stuff, it also doesn't hold up. It doesn't have a lot of longevity to it too.
Yeah.
It feels dated very quickly.
Yeah, like all those comedians that made Bill Clinton jokes back then.
Yeah,
It's like, you
and,
watch that now. It's like,
you
oh,
know,
really?
and what's funny is so the Mike Epps stand-up that's on Netflix, he's in D.C., but he doesn't get political, which is cool. So he just goes to show you, like, you know, funny's funny no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
And that's just good stuff. So, yeah, big fan of that. And then check out what channel is that, BB, on Sirius that you got
I
there?
want to say it's 93 on
It's
Sirius
right around
XM.
Howard somewhere. Howard's got a lot of the comedy stations near him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's channel
because
93. It's called Netflix is a Joke Radio.
that's pretty cool. I would definitely, if I had satellite radio, check that out. 'Cause that's
Found out
definitely-
today I have it till December.
Look at you.
Well,
You
only-
calling them and parlaying, or you
No,
just,
no.
they have you
they
for
just
free
sent me a letter.
with that
I have
lease?
it. I have it till December.
And BB, are you paying month to month, or where are you at with that?
Yeah, I've had XM for
He's had it a long
almost
time.
15 years now.
Jeez. Now let me ask the question here: how much is what's the damage on something like that at this point in BV's world?
Well, I don't know how much it is for one. I've made over the years. I bought for my stepdad and my mom for Christmas, and so I've got like a family plan. It's like 40 something a month.
But I'll tell you this: that sounds outrageous. But if you're a guy that spends a lot of time in your car on a commute, it's fantastic. For any kind of road trips and stuff. Just for me, someone who does a pretty short commute to work, I can't justify the cost of it. Like straight up, just XM or Sirius XM or whatever it is, about $15. Steve's talked about it before. The Howard stuff is pretty nerfed now. He's only on very limited because he's getting up there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I do like Sirius XM as the product. But I think it's one of those things. If you can justify the cost, it's totally worth it.
Need to
Well,
start.
and if you,
Go
oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You would think with a market like Chicago too that the radio options, under standard radio options would be better, but they're horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just I'd take Detroit radio over Chicago radio every day. It's really bad. So I
that's a big statement, actually.
almost
yeah.
can't justify not having it at this point.
So you don't have any good, like, real good sports talk? Like, we got 97 on the ticket with Valeni, who me and Steve will go on and on about all the time.
There is there's local sports talk, but if you're not into or you don't follow or pay, you don't have any, I don't have any feelings one way or the other about any of the teams.
Oh, the local market
Yeah,
team.
and ESPN 1000, other than the 2 or 3, major, national shows, it's all local stuff. So
You guys get Tiki and Tyranny down there? I love that show. That's another one.
I have
Yeah,
no
you're a
idea.
big
I
fan
haven't
of that.
listened
You
to
often
regular
talk.
radio for anything other than traffic, and I can't tell you how
So
long.
what is the top 3 channels for BV on Sirius XM? Like, give it a little. Like I said, we don't have too many people that have it going around. What do you got?
Well, I mean, I listen to the the 80s, 90s stuff a lot.
that
and
seems
I'll
to be a
listen.
go-to for a lot of people. I
Until they
think.
get
Yeah.
that deep cut 80s shit.
Yeah.
For sports stuff, I usually listen to either ESPN or the SXM Fight Radio.
Okay, and
which-
that's more
where
like
that's where that busted open thing is on in the mornings.
okay.
So I usually listen to that, on my drive to work in the morning.
And now, how do you typically listen? Are you listening to baked in the caddy? Is that what you're doing? Is most of your do you have any receiver units or anything like that? Or
No,
you
it's just in the it's part of the
baked into the car.
yeah, it's in like the infotainment, the infotainment system or whatever. Yeah, the
So
queue.
you have nothing in your house that you can listen to it wise? Do you get like a streaming rights for $40 a month?
No, you have to pay extra for that. I don't
Jeez,
have.
you
any
would
of
be
that.
over and above the 40 to get.
Yeah, this is just the three
That's tough,
three
man.
units and whatever. So
Wow.
So there you go. A little
yeah,
look
I'm
at
not willing to go that far.
XM Sirius and Mike Epps and Adam Devine, both two. So Charles, at least someone got to see something nice this week.
The one thing I can always go if you are looking for good Netflix content, go to the stand-up spots, man.
Yeah. This last one was released in the fall. The Sisters Brothers. Now I saw previews for this and and it disappeared quick, so I should have known it's a turd. How do you say that guy's name? Is it Jacqueline Phoenix?
It's Joaquin.
Joaquin. I got a mental block when it comes to his name. I always look
Jackin'.
at
Those are called
Joaquin,
Jacqueline now.
Joaquin Phoenix. John C. Reilly. Jake Gyllenhaal's also in it.
It sounds like a decent cast.
Yeah, it's basically Joaquin Phoenix
Yeah, look
and
at
John
ya.
C. Reilly.
Write that on your wrist.
I know.
Or your hand.
Are the Sisters Brothers? They're brothers with the last name of Sisters, and they're kind of renowned. They're in Oregon. Basically, they're bounty hunters, and they work for a guy called the Commodore. Which, okay, whatever. And then the other person, Jake Gyllenhaal, he's kind of a bounty hunter too. They sent him out to find this guy who's a chemist who knows how to drop a chemical in the water that highlights all the gold in the water.
Okay.
So the Commodore obviously.
So this
wants
is a Western again.
Yes, it's a Western
this
again.
is set in olden times.
So Jake Gyllenhaal befriends the chemist, and they're in California, and basically Joaquin and John C. Reilly are chasing after him.
Okay.
And that's the gist of the story. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Again, what is
It doesn't do anything interesting. Yeah, those indie movies just buck the trend.
I
of the 2
like
hour window.
a good Western. Like I like Unforgiven. I like True Grit when it was really redone
Yeah,
with
that
Jeff
was a good
Bridges.
one. Yeah.
I like even 316, the Yuma or whatever that was with Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
They can do good Westerns. This wasn't one of them, and so neither was The Kid. Both of them were just really long and really boring, and it just wasn't.
It sounds
that
like you're in
good.
love with the idea of a Western. You just can't nail
Oh
it.
no! I mean, if it's not Clint Eastwood, I should just know to watch. If it's not Jeff Bridges or Clint Eastwood, just
Or
don't watch
Deadwood,
it.
too,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that Deadwood sucked
Yeah,
too.
Deadwood
So
movie, me and you were
I'm
kinda
like 0 for
lukewarm.
3 on westerns recently, and so I'm dying for a good like you're dying for good sci-fi.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
dying for a good western.
You got a
movie.
Western hole. I got a sci-fi
Yeah,
hole.
and
I'm
neither
trying to
one of them
fill.
are getting filled. They're
Yeah.
both terrible.
Has the time just passed on that?
On what, the western? No.
Well, I mean, has it just been long enough now? I mean, is it just so much further in time that it's hard to do now?
I
or-
would argue, and this is my opinion on Hollywood as a whole, I think that they're struggling to find good writers. Like, is what you just need a good premise. Like, at the end of the day, the effects are so amazing now. Like we talked about, like I Am Mother. These things are fantastic. Like, they can put any idea on the screen. Like, look, they made the freaking Marvel movies. You know what I
They
mean?
made the
Like,
Lord of the Rings, and they said
half
those
of
could
our
never be done.
issue, half of the issue at this point is coming up with a good idea that is, like you said, a guy chasing after another guy for 2.5 hours. Like, that sounded great to someone. Like, do something original. And as much as you were kind of lukewarm on like the Jordan Peele movies, at least he's giving you a different take.
I will give him credit on that. The Jordan Peele movies are at least original.
Yeah, and that's what I guess. It just, and I think that so it's not necessarily production values anymore. It's just literally like coming up with that OG original premise.
Well, in these two westerns, it was production. You could tell they cut corners. It was lower budget movies, but at the same time,
But it doesn't sound like the story could have held up to it.
No. I even liked the Magnificent Seven they redid with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, that was Chris Pratt was in that, right?
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't the greatest, but so they can be a good western. It just these weren't it. I should have known.
I have to ask too, because you guys watch exponentially more movies than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard or seen the name Joaquin Phoenix in I can't remember how long. Has he done anything worthwhile
He did
since
the one
Gladiator?
he did the one where the chick was the Alexa that he fell in love with that got a bunch of award type
He
stuff.
does a
It's very
lot of
niche.
weird.
I saw like 20 minutes of that and turned it off.
He's gonna be playing the Joker and all that kind of stuff,
and that's got a lot of buzz behind it.
Yeah,
right now, so.
and then he did that one weird movie where he was where he crashed at David Letterman and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So
It
he
took
does
like
like
10
weird
years to-
artsy kind of movies.
He never does anything like mainstream. The Joker's probably the most mainstream thing he's gonna, and Gladiator. Those were the two.
So
most
did he
mainstream.
actually like kind of freak out and become like a? I mean, did he start going crazy, or was that just like part of a?
That's
all-
a shtick.
that was
Yeah,
all
it's all
shtick.
part of his
Okay.
art.
Yeah. That was all put on because he did some film that took 5 years or something to film.
I think that was that same one.
Yeah, and he did it behind the scenes, and he kind of crashed.
It's a George Clooney thing. It's fun for you to film it, not good for us to watch it.
So there you go. Sisters, brothers, a turd, the kid, the turd. Someone make a good Western, please. I just want to see a good Western. And then finally, there's a new game out, and there is 2 new games. I just got it today, so I will be in 2 weeks when we come back.
Yeah.
I'll let everyone know about Samurai Showdown. I haven't
Yeah,
had a
that was the
chance.
one you went in initially to pick up.
I went to rent, and it was nowhere to be found.
And you were shocked to see that the Mario Maker 2 for the Nintendo Switch
was sitting on the shelf, so I got that for me and Holly
Yeah.
to play. If you love Mario Maker's, I mean,
It sounds great. So on the I haven't played either of the Mario Maker games. I know I was going to pick up the 3DS version, but they said that it's super borked and like terrible. But in the first Mario Maker game, from what I understand, you couldn't share levels in it. So in other words, I could make a disastrous level and send it over to Steve. You couldn't do that. So I believe, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, in this newest one, they're getting the online component correct. Am I right in saying this?
yes, but at the same time, the only way you can access that is if you have
The Nintendo Pass.
the
or whatever.
Nintendo
Like
Online
the
Pass,
Xbox
which
Live
is-
Gold
yeah,
equivalent.
yeah, which we don't have that on the Switch, so we can't access anybody's
How much
levels.
is that a month off the top of your
I
head?
think it's only $30 a year or something.
Okay,
like
so it's
that.
only not too crazy.
And Holly doesn't play it enough to justify it.
Yeah.
I ask her, you want to get she just kind of,
I mean,
it's not on an iPhone. She doesn't care.
There's something to be said. At this point, I don't play Mario games for the story. I purely love the platforming. So there's something to
Well,
be
then this
said.
is the game up your alley.
Yeah, it's an infinite rather, like Mario game at any point. And I also enjoy about it is that they've got multiple aesthetics. You've got the OG 8-bit, you've got Mario Land, you've got the new
Yeah.
Super Mario. That's a pretty ingenious little game.
Yeah, there's 4 different versions of the Mario graphics you can pick from.
Yeah.
And I'm not into platformers as much as you are.
Yeah.
You're obviously. I'm more fighting game, sports game guy.
I love Mario platformers.
You love platformers in VR, and Bill's more sports, I believe, too. So I mean, I liked it. It's fun. It's got the sound effects.
I'll
It's
tell you
got
this
everything
much:
you
it was
want.
hard. You brought it over last night, and
Yeah.
it was really hard.
There's some scenes. And
you can make some diabolical levels. on
yeah,
that
and
thing.
those were all just by the producers of the game.
Yeah, imagine when you put the user content.
Yeah, I've heard there's some ridiculously hard, and I've seen videos of some of the ones. But like I said, you need the online service, which is only $30 a year. But if your kid's not really into being online, so there's no point in paying for it.
But you still got the, like you said, the producer baked in levels.
Yeah, and
Is there an online component where she can go and at least get like public release levels down, or not necessarily? You don't know.
I don't know off the top of my head. And there's one big section that's grayed out. It's something online world or something it's called. So I imagine that's where you get most.
You
of your
got to
stuff.
have that ecosystem to be part of it.
So it's funny that they wall that one off, but at the same time, Smash Brothers, you can get all tons of stuff for that. So it's without the online. So I find that unique. But
Wait, you can create your own levels in video games now?
in
just
Mario
this
Maker.
game, Mario
yeah.
Maker,
So
it's
imagine you could make that platformer level, and they use like a grid system for you to set that up,
Yeah.
and you can make the rules of a level. So imagine Steve and I went back and forth. We were both friends on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I could make a level, send it to Steve. He makes a level, send it to me, and we kind of tit for tat that way. It
Yep.
seems pretty neat.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it seems really cool.
You know,
And then it also, I believe it has the smarts baked into it as well to make a level that if it's not passable, it won't work and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff too.
yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
yeah, it's a neat little game. And if you're really into building stuff like Minecraft or what's it, Little Big Planet, if you like those 2 games, you'll really probably like.
But I
Mario
would
Maker.
say that even if you're not into building things, you could still go online if there's a public
Yeah,
forum
yeah.
to download. I mean,
Well, I like Little
imagine-
Big Planet, and all I ever did was download other
Yeah,
people's
so
lives.
that's what I'm saying,
I never
yeah.
cared for building the stages. It's
Yeah.
just too tedious and takes forever.
Yeah.
I got bumblebees to make. I ain't got time for that.
I got stuff I got to do.
So here's a look at the movies. I struck out miserably. Charles got at least 2 good stand-ups in. And we're all waiting. Well, at least I am. I'm waiting for a good Western, and Charles is waiting for good sci-fi. And I Am Mother was not it. the kid and the Sisters Brothers were not it for me. So hopefully one of us will be succeeding one of these years.
Well, I mean, and quite frankly, like open to anyone if you got any suggestions or something, because like I've had a sci-fi hole for a while now. Because the problem is
someone needs to fill Charles's hole,
dude. Like you wouldn't believe. But like I mean, I'm talking about like a weekly something or other. Because Walking Dead's terrible now. That's sci-fi to a point, but it's
I'm
terrible.
watching Fear of the Walking Dead. You watching that?
No.
They brought the guy in with the burnt face.
Yeah, somehow he linked up with old boy with Morgan, right?
Yeah, he showed up last.
They're just rewriting the rules.
Whole
man.
country full of dead people. Those two happen to meet each other
just,
in Arizona.
So stupid. That show's got so much issues now.
Yeah, I know.
And then
I still watch it. I don't know why.
You wait so long.
Is Abby
for
still
Star
watching
Wars
Walking
stuff?
Dead?
I think so.
Yeah, glutton for punishment.
Dude, I can't do it. I can't get through season 8. And it's on Netflix. I can't do it. I just can't.
That is the
Dude,
worst. It's like
I've never seen a show peak so hard and fall off so hard.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I said, you got so much weight in between Star Wars movies and stuff. I just need. I enjoy science fiction. You know what I mean? Like I want to live in the dystopian future. I do. I just love it.
Now the big one coming up while you're gone, Stranger Things is coming out this July 4th. Are you going to be interested?
I cannot watch that because Heather is so in love with Stranger Things. I'm at this point. I'm saying no just to piss her off.
Oh, okay.
So that's how that's going for me.
Bill, have you watched any Stranger Things?
No.
I love those short answers.
No interest whatsoever.
Yeah, I will be watching it. My daughter won't watch it with me and Michelle because we're too old and slow.
Oh, okay.
So July 4th.
She's gonna blow past you.
Yeah, she's gonna get up in the morning on July 4th. Well, morning. She's gonna get up at noon, and then she's gonna watch the whole season straight through the whole day. She already has it planned.
Now let me ask: are you excited for the new season coming out? What's your opinion?
No, I'm not excited.
You just need to know answers, kind of thing. Like fill in my
well,
blanks. Are they releasing the whole season all at once?
Yes, Netflix.
I think
does that.
Netflix is being stupid that way.
And then
They need to go to the Hulu model, one a week. I would make you guys wait. I would.
Stranger Things is one of those things. Michelle loved it. It's everything Michelle likes.
Because it's the 80s vibe.
It's
yeah.
80s.
That's what Heather hits on.
Nostalgia. It's the kids like
The band of
Goonies almost,
kids,
yeah.
yep.
And Michelle loves that. Where I'm not like if I never saw season 3 of Stranger Things, I'd be good with it. I mean, okay, whatever.
She needs to know.
But now it's like, oh, it's our show together. You know how it is with your wife.
Okay.
There's certain shows you got to sit through, and I'm like, well, if I never see it again, I'm not. The one I'm kind of looking forward to because it's ending and I want to see the end
Orange
of it.
is the New
Orange
Black.
is the New Black.
Yeah, when does that release?
End of the month too. They're doing
Okay.
both of them in the same month. Which
Well,
I
that's
find
a
is kinda
show
weird.
that we talk about Fear of the Walking Dead and Walking Dead. Orange is the New Black, dude, is limping to the end.
Yeah.
Fantastic show to begin with. And as soon as they did the riot season, it just fell off hard.
It did.
That's when it really.
But
basically,
now
when they killed
now I'm so
Poussey.
invested. I gotta finish it, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, but you joke, but I'm with you to that. I stopped watching. I just bailed
Yeah.
on it. And I couldn't get through it.
And again, if I never saw these shows again, I wouldn't be heartbroken. But it's Steve and Michelle's show. We got to watch it together. And the one I'm looking forward to at the end of August is their Crystal series. On
Yeah,
Netflix.
Mark Hamill's pimping that a lot. He's definitely
yeah?
voicing a lot of dudes in there. Or
He's
something.
been busy this last couple months
Yeah,
with Chucky
dude.
and that, even though that kind of tanked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, a little bit of movies and stuff, and what we're all going to be watching coming up. Now, we started this segment last week, and some weeks we ain't going to have a lot of stuff, but this is the NFL, NHL, NBA offseason rumors and innuendos. Now,
You
Bill,
missed one on the NBA, by the way. They're saying that Kawhi and KD are having conversations to go to a team together.
Oh, okay.
There's a new update on that, by the way.
Oh, what do you got,
good.
BB?
Durant is announcing later today that he's going to sign with Brooklyn. So is
Wow.
Kyrie Irving, and so is DeAndre Jordan.
Jesus, this league. I talk about this every week.
But KD's not going to play for the whole year.
No, he's going to get a supermax contract, and he's going to sit out the 1 year hurt. He's going to miss all of next year. And he's going to make like 40-some million a year.
How
probably.
is this? Like who? What is going on? I don't understand why people love this league. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How is that cool?
Well, you get to see super teams, and
You get four great teams and shit. Great.
Yeah.
And anyone who's good on those shit, they're eventually just going to go to one of the other teams.
Well, I mean, a lot of other sports leagues have been like that too for
Who?
years. Well, even in baseball, it was like the Yankees and everyone else was shit for how long, and then they drop off, and it's the Cardinals for how long.
This NBA thing, and it, like,
even
I feel like
football.
the NBA is at its peak of popularity right now. Like,
Oh,
it
it
is
is.
super popular.
They're filming Space Jam
because
2
they can
right
create
now.
these super teams.
It's just, I guess,
It's because one or two players, 2-3 players changes everything in basketball. You can't do that in a lot of other sports.
But it's like they take a deck of cards every offseason and chuck them around and go like, okay, who do you got? I got KD, Kyrie Irving over here.
Well, because they've got the way they have it with their contracts. I mean, anyone that's got any sort of clout sets, and they've got opt-outs basically, whenever they want.
Yeah.
I mean, you sign this giant contract
here,
and you can opt out after the first year or two.
Crazy.
Well, doesn't free agency start in about 7 minutes? I thought it starts 6:30.
Yeah. So BV will chime in as soon as they announce the KD official, I guess.
Well, the one thing that struck me is the Lakers got rid of everybody. They literally only have 3 people on their roster right now. They traded the last of their remaining players away just to make money, cash, and just. I said in the notes.
Yeah, but who knows what they're
going
to? Yeah, exactly. Like who knows?
But if they sign him, will they have money for anything else? They'll have 4. They won't even have a starting lineup. They'll just have 4 guys.
It's such a weird league. I just can't. And I guess I watch too much football. I think is what it is.
That's kind of what the Heat did, though. I mean, they ended up with with the 3 that Wade, James, and Bosch, and then they had a bunch of mid-level.
They had the Birdman. How dare
veteran
you?
exceptions that were on these little. They get a bunch of people at the end of their career to play roles and take like almost nothing because they're trying to win a title.
It's weird. That's all I want to say. Is it just a weird MO?
Well, it's really going to pick up here in about probably an hour or so. There's going to be some crazy. So any breaking news you hear, Bill, let us know.
Yeah, if I get anything, I'll let you know.
And then for the NHL, PK Subban was traded to the
He's
Devils.
the one that's banging Lindsey Vaughn. That's the brother, I believe. Yeah.
Well, that's important.
He's really popular in the NHL.
He was on the cover of
really
the EA
good.
Sports, the last version. So I was surprised to see that because I thought he was kind of the face of the Nashville Predators.
Yeah.
But apparently not. They're like, see ya. Hockey's been notorious for trades.
And hockey has no money. So that you talk about, like, here's the NBA that's just a mint, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, hockey's literally like, we got 8 Slovakian guys. We pay like 10 Gs. It's so crazy.
And then we covered this a little bit last night. The NFL, the Bengals' first-round pick, their tackle, out for the whole season, shoulder surgery.
What happened?
I don't know.
Sustained
torn
an injury?
labrum.
Yeah, but like, was it?
I think it was during practice or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Bill?
saying.
Do you
like,
know off the top of your head?
I think it was a practice injury.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So the Bengals are hurting right now with him out. So that's the big offseason news we got.
What is? Let me ask, because we don't touch base with BV except for around random like live streams. What's BV's take on the Kawhi Leonard thing? Where do you think he'll end up? Where do you think he lands?
It's hard to say now because, if the Nets are getting Durant and Irving or whatnot, they're not going to be able to bring.
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi is kind of a weird cat, though. He's not your typical. I could see him signing. I don't see him signing with the Lakers because.
But he's he's an LA kid, right? Isn't that what they always say?
He only granted a couple teams
but
to
he's
talk to.
I don't wonder where the fit is there. I mean, you got him and LeBron play the same position. I mean, I'm sure they could make it work or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, the way those work is that you can get the most money by staying with your team.
Yeah.
I can't see him staying in Toronto, but I don't know. Maybe the Clippers.
Yeah, maybe
Lakers,
just goes
Clippers. I'd say either Lakers, Clippers, or he stays where he's at.
So there you go. A little look at the off season and what was happening, and we'll try to keep you filled in. Probably in 2
Can we
weeks.
just keep talking and delay this next segment, please?
Let's just get it over with. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah,
Charles.
it's a Band-Aid, man.
I was thinking when he was talking about the kid, you might want to consider getting like a next button. So like if something comes up, it's just total
chime
garbage. You
in,
can just
like,
cut it off
dude,
right
this
next.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there is
like
some...
maybe we did have like a band. I'll just like play up music like the Oscars.
I'll get it. Now there is news that me and Bill and I talked about last night that I didn't get a chance to put on here. Paul Heyman is taking over Raw.
Oh wait, so this is 3 minutes of wrestling.
Yeah, here we go.
Delaying.
3 minutes
sorry.
of wrestling.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Make sure we let people know so they can tune out.
You don't do the Alexa thing anymore?
No. We're just trying to kind of barrel through. So.
Okay. And then Eric Bischoff is going to run SmackDown. So this is big shakeups with the head creative in WWE.
And like we talked about yesterday on the live cast that we did, this is not necessarily something they've done publicly, correct? This is more like behind the scenes.
Well, today on Facebook, I follow WWE because I got to stay up. One of their first posts is that. So it's not that behind scenes.
Okay, because I just want to know how serious
on Sports Illustrated's website.
So they're starting to pump it out there everywhere. So
and this was Wednesday.
I mean, us inside
Thursday.
guys like Bill and I
Already
heard about
knew,
it,
yeah.
but they're pumping it out to the public too. So I don't know if this is going to make interest in it or not, or if it's going to improve the product or not, but we'll find out. Now, back in what was it, May? Double or Nothing, was it? We, Charles, myself, and Bill, we all had a positive feeling of AEW when that
We
pay-per-view went
watched
on.
that first pay-per-view. You actually ponied up cash for it, and
It was
we did a
entertaining.
purchase, and we thought it was a decent product. We were really kind of hyped on it.
They built
It
up a
wasn't
lot
bad.
of goodwill, made me look forward to the show coming in October. Fast forward that to the current pay-per-view last night.
because they don't have the weekly show, as we kind of
Yes,
chronicled.
and they
so.
gave it for free, so I will give them credit there. It was called Fyter Fest. It was on Bleacher Report last night. It was about 3 hours long, probably 2.5 hours longer than it should be. And all the goodwill they built up, they squandered because that show was terrible.
All three of us are in agreement. It was awful.
There wasn't no redeeming qualities
Yeah.
that I can think of. Can any one of you guys think of something that came out of that pay-per-view like, oh, well, that was interesting? Please, Charles, Bill, either one.
It was bad, dude.
I
It was
mean-
legit style bad. Like, the best part for me was when the Darby Allin guy broke his back on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
On a botched move.
dude, it was bad.
And Darby Allin looked like a
I don't
120-pound
know.
lesbian.
I think that the Cody Rhodes' woman is an attractive young lady.
That's a positive.
That's-
That is a positive. They had a lot of sponsorships. They
yeah,
had,
they had a
made
different
some
take
money,
on how that works because that was a little different.
Yeah, they had sponsorships on the turnbuckles and on the
Yeah.
boards on the outside. That was
It was bad.
it was terrible.
So out of 10, what do you give it?
I
Steve?
give it like a 3. I couldn't wait for it to end.
Yeah,
it
BV,
was-
what do you got?
Yeah, I'd think maybe a 2, 2.5.
I was gonna say 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
The only-
Whereas, what would you give the first one going around the room?
probably a 7 almost.
Yeah.
I was entertaining.
I was gonna borderline an 8 because I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good.
And then the big news from it is really this is the Jon Moxley debut of AEW in his real match.
And Jon Moxley is the
Dean Ambrose from WWE.
Dean Ambrose.
And my knocking him in WWE, barely did any moves. He was kind of crappy. Oh, guess what? He's the same guy at AEW. Because he went on every interview across the country saying WWE was holding him back. They wouldn't let him do moves. They wouldn't let.
I
And here
gotta
he
tell you,
comes.
the WWE was right.
Yeah, WWE was right. He comes here. He does a hardcore match, flops around on some barbed wire, no moves. He does the same double arm DDT that he did in WWE. It was nothing good. He wrestled
put
a
him in a
fat
hardcore
Jason
match.
Mewes. Yeah, what'd you say, Bill?
I was like, putting him in a hardcore match pretty much confirmed everything I thought about him in the first place.
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
mean,
People that get on hardcore matches are people that want to be relevant when they can't freaking wrestle.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they
so in
go
other
on, they
words,
do all
yeah.
kinds of crazy stuff to get the shock factor, and
You just lack
takes
the
away from the fact that they're
fundamentals.
just
yeah.
not very entertaining in the ring.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
no,
not good.
he can't even pull a slam out or a suplex, nothing. It was just bad hardware gimmick or hardcore gimmick after hardcore gimmick. If they're resting their laurels on this guy and they think he's going to be the savior of the company, they're in trouble. I mean,
I'll tell you. Yeah.
they
I've never had such a turnaround in because again, I thought that Double or Nothing stuff was at least it shined a light on what wrestling could have been in 2019. I was like, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
Legit style was not bad. Boy, oh boy, it just reminded me yesterday why I stopped watching.
Oh,
it's
it
just
was-
the inconsistencies between the two pay-per-views is night and day.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's because it was free. I don't
It
know
was
what.
like a bad house show.
I don't know if it's thrown together too quick. I don't know what happened there. That was
How about it was just total crap?
yeah, or it was total crap.
I mean, there wasn't. I don't think there was a single good match. And it's funny because I'm looking at the. I wanted to see if I could get kind of, how critics were looking. And they were great on CBS Sports or kind of grading the matches.
Yeah.
And basically everything got no higher than a C or C plus, except for the four-way match with Hangman Page and MJF and them.
You
They
could
gave that
just
a
see
B.
a league trying to push that guy too.
Yeah.
That's what was so apparent to me.
What are the
Yeah.
comments saying about that pay per view on that? Is there comments on that article?
Let
I
me see.
want to see if everyone.
What
But
did
they
the-
gave
wait.
that Kenny Omega and Young Bucks an A minus, which
Ah.
I didn't think that was very good at all. Let me see if I can find comments on
I
that.
don't like the Young Bucks. I
With
think the
the-
Kenny
No, there's no
Omega
comments.
guy is pretty good. The Young Bucks is
the bad
terrible.
Street Fighter cosplay.
What did the Living Legends legend that Chris Hendricks guy get? Because he seems like he's a living legend according
Christopher
to
Daniels.
Christopher Daniels.
That was great. They graded that match a C.
Oh, how dare they?
Oh, man.
He's a legend.
Yeah, this is
Pretty murky manager.
I didn't think a single match was any good. Like I wasn't.
They were all too long. All the matches
Yeah.
were too long.
Yeah.
One was a time limit draw, and you haven't seen that since 1985. I was like, oh, it was.
And I'm so, as much as I like to make cracks about Yuka Sucky. I mean, if you're gonna have a viable freaking mainstream or kind of top level wrestling company, you need to be.
Uh-oh, we lost Bill.
BV just died. Sorry, BV. Oh.
Is he calling back? With technical difficulty here.
It reminded me kind of. It reminded me of what it should have been.
He was
when they
keeping
have,
going. BV just had a stroke, we think, folks.
What?
It cut out for a second. It was
Oh,
weird.
okay, sorry.
But what were you saying? It reminded you of what now?
It reminded me of like if they took, when you have did you see that stupid thing with the Iconics where they decided they were going to like defend their titles against two people that were just like chumps they pulled in from the street?
Yeah.
And they have a match. That's what that match should have been. Because like you were saying last night, it was basically like the Nia Jax knockoff against two women that if they were like a combined 150 pounds, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But instead, they
And then
made it
even
a
the premise of the pay-per-view was stupid. Like biting on the Fire Festival
yeah,
thing was
you
just
missed
dumb.
the bad skits, Bill. That was in the pregame.
like it was.
I don't know what the hell that was.
It was way too much into the CEO video game tournament, and then that bad like wannabe fire. It was bad.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do a lot better than that.
Well, they have till October, and I'm not going to watch anything of theirs until then. And we'll probably do a live cast of that first episode on TNT,
Yeah.
and we'll all grade it there. And if it sucks there, I'm done with them.
Oh, you're bailing. So
Yeah, I'm bailing if it sucks there.
I'd ask BV, but I know BV's not going to bail.
On what?
If it's bad at the first Turner show, are you bailing or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll bail on it pretty quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, he bailed on TNA and stuff too,
Yeah.
so we do bail.
Yeah, I don't watch anything else really. So.
All right, so there we go. A look at the AEW. Wow, I've never seen such a drop off.
Right
in
now,
quality.
it's a void. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do between now and October.
And now they're hitting up another true pay-per-view in August, right? Didn't we say August something?
I think so, yeah. And they need to wake Jay up on the sidelines. He's sleeping.
The
at
commentary with the guy at the luchador
Oh,
mask.
so terrible. They got a lot of reworking to do. And Charles says they all need to be on roids. Get some
Not
roids.
enough juice.
Hand out some juice at the AEW, all right? All right, so now go ahead, Bill.
Before you go, before you leave sports, there's some rapid fire updates here on the NBA free agency.
Oh, already? Wow.
Yeah, JJ Redick is a 2-year deal with the Pelicans.
Oh, okay.
Kemba Walker signed a 4-year deal with a max contract with the Celtics.
That was a big deal, right? You said that.
He left the Bobcats. I think.
Harrison Barnes, this is a minor one. Harrison Barnes got 4 years, $85 million to stay with Sacramento. That's
a mint. Wow, dude.
The
not all
Pistons
that
signed
great.
Derrick Rose to a 2-year deal.
Does he come with both knees?
I don't know, but they're only paying him 15-year total. It's 2 years, $15 million. So it's not like basketball terms. That's a light contract.
Yeah.
So that's
That's the
as far as
early.
people that going to new teams. That's it so far. But
Wow. And that was quick. That was only
But a lot
6
of
minutes into
re-signing right away, too.
6 minutes into it, and it's
Where are we
already
going to be an hour from now?
Yeah.
yeah, there's already like 7 re-signs.
Oh wow.
No one of any real note though.
So fast-paced action in the NBA offseason. All right. So now we're going to rapid fire, and we're going to show you some movies, Blu-rays. I do have a couple music for everybody this week. Not that any of us will probably buy it, but I thought I'd put it on there anyways. All right. So we're going to start with movies. And at the theater this week, which seems very odd because this is very close to Child's Play, it's another Killer Doll movie. Annabelle Comes Home, and this doll looks more
This
like
is
an
from
old
the
school-
Conjuring thing, right?
Yeah, it seems like weird timing for this movie. I didn't want to see any of these. Charles
I'm a no.
and
I don't
Bill,
know.
do you want to see Annabelle Comes Home?
No.
Now, of course, my daughter is a huge Spider-Man fan, so I will be seeing this. Spider-Man Far From Home. Probably half the world will be seeing this, except for Charles.
The last of the Sony, correct? Or-
Yeah. Well,
or
no, it's not last.
Oh.
Sony gets to keep theirs. Fox,
Oh, okay.
Fox the one that lost
Fox
theirs.
lost.
So I'm a yes for Spider-Man Far From Home. Charles
Steve gave you a preview. It's a no.
and Bill.
Aren't these like teenagers or something?
Yeah.
That okay? Is this like version number 72 of the Spider-Man series?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I was done with Spider-Man 62 versions ago.
So no Spider-Man for the other two grumps in the room. God. Just kidding.
No Toby, no Charles.
And the last one, this is another horror movie. So a lot of horror movies this summer.
Midsommar?
Midsommar, it's about a group of teenagers that go to like Sweden, and then they end up in a cult of some weird kind. I'm a no. Looks terrible. I don't even think Bert would watch this, so I'm a no. Charles?
I'm a what with a no. I didn't know what that was.
And Bill?
Ditto.
Charles, Bill is going to go to the theater and see Midsommar. All right, on Blu Ray this week, this first one's really funny because the first two got theater releases. This one didn't. This is Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone and Dave Bautista is in this one. It said, did you see the first one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone?
No.
Somehow Stallone's a designer of prisons or something, and he goes in and tries to break out of them to help test them for people who buy and make prisons. But of course, things get turned around, and the shenanigans happen, and he actually end up in a real prison. I saw the first one. The second one went all Chinese. But anyways, this is the third one. It went direct to DVD with him and Batista in it. I'm a no. I don't know. It looks very low budget. Charles?
I love Sly, but I'm a no.
Oh, man. And Bill, would you watch Escape Plan 3?
Probably not, but I'm still a what?
Yeah. And this next one, The Best of Enemies. This is in the 60s. Sam Rockwell, he's a head of...
He's a super big racist.
Yeah.
He's like a grand wizard or something.
Yeah,
I
and
know
he has
this.
to befriend Taraji P. I like these
Something had to
historical...
do with integrating schools,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah. I think he's the head of a school district is what the deal is. I'm a big yes. I like these historical type movies, Charles.
I love Sam Rockwell. I think Sam Rockwell's a really good actor. You talk about like people that typically does things I enjoy. So I would be a yes on this, on Blu Ray especially.
And Bill, The Best of Enemies?
It sounds kind of interesting, but I'd probably never get to it, so no.
Okay. And then Dragon Ball Super Part 8. I don't know if this is a TV series. They've made 1 billion of these things. It's all over Best Buy's website that's coming out.
I don't know what this is.
It's either a movie or the series. I've never got into Dragon Ball. Even though it seems like I should be into Dragon Ball, I'm just not. So I'm a no on Dragon Ball Super Part 8. Charles?
If it's not Budokai, I'm not into it.
It's not Bukkake. Charles is not into it.
Budokai?
Dragon Ball Bukkake. Charles is into that. Bill, are you going to watch this?
What happened to the Z?
There's no more Z now. They got like 5,000 versions of this shit.
Yeah,
Naruto.
Yeah.
Then, now, and forever, no.
Oh, now on streaming. Of course, the big one. Everyone's waiting for it except for one person on Earth. The Strangest Things Season 3 comes out July 4th. I'm a yes, but I'm too slow for my daughter, so she will not watch it with me. Charles?
I'm a no. Heather's a big yes, but I'm a no just to irritate her.
And Bill?
I'm that one person. No.
and Bill will not watch it. In the Dark Season 1. This is another Netflix original. I'm not sure what this is about. It looks like a creepy sci-fi thing series with kids. I'm a no. I don't exactly know what it's about, and I looked it up.
I'm a hard what? I don't know what this is.
Yeah, and Bill?
What?
Yeah, okay. And then
Here comes Steve with another shitty Amazon show.
this one, I don't purposely put these on. I just got to find filler for these things.
Something about these Amazon shows are so bad.
This is an historical movie.
We break Netflix balls all day, but no one ever says a word about Amazon because you get free shipping with it.
Yeah,
It's the
true.
craziest
Well,
thing.
no, it's always an afterthought for Amazon.
Yeah, like,
This is called-
and you get free video.
This is actually a historic thing. Peter Liu, back in the Revolutionary War time, there was a bunch of workers that went on strike or something, and the English government had them all killed. I'm a no. I'm probably not going to watch this, Charles.
I'm a no. It's an Amazon show. I'm out. No. But I am, unlike BV, I'm going to go to the Amazon store this week coming up, and I'll have a full
Yeah, Bill never did that.
bastard.
Oh, yeah, I did never do that.
He totally forgot
I
about
did
that.
never do that.
Thank you, Grammar Police.
It's just funny to hear that.
Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah.
Well, since we're correcting people, it's 1819, not Revolutionary War time,
Oh,
but
sorry,
still
I was
no.
Okay, so no on that.
It's an
too.
Amazon show, so no.
I just saw a quick trailer. I didn't know what the actual time thing. So now we brought music back this week just because there's 2 releases that people might be into, might not be in. The Black Keys, Let's Rock. Black Keys are kind of popular.
They got a few hits and stuff like that.
I wouldn't
People
buy
are
their
big
their
fans.
music, so I'm a no, Charles.
Anthony Bourdain committed suicide, so no one cares about the Black Keys anymore. I'm a no.
What?
I mean, Anthony Bourdain was obsessed with the Black Keys.
Oh.
Always had him on the show.
Wow, okay. Did
No.
not know that.
I didn't care for Anthony Bourdain or the Black Keys.
How dare you? Anthony Bourdain was an American treasure.
And this other guy had a feud with Eminem for about 45 seconds. Machine Gun Kelly and Hotel Diablo. No, I'm not going to listen to that.
I'm waiting for the sequel to the Bird Box with Machine Gun Kelly, where he went with the woman in the car. So I'll say no.
Oh,
He was the white trash guy in Bird Box.
Oh, I
that
did
left
not
with
know
the
that.
chick and took the car.
I never watched the movie.
The Bird Box, the Sandra Bullock
No,
one.
I didn't watch it.
Wow, Steve just anti-Netflix. Put a bunch of
Anti-Netflix. I tried a bunch of Netflix this week. I struck out miserably.
Please, BB. Machine Gun Kelly.
I thought Eminem ended his career with Kill Shot, so I'm shocked he still put anything out. But no.
All right. So Machine Gun Kelly ended his career. So in games, not a lot this week. Stranger Things has a tie-in. It's kind of funny because it's an 8-bit game. I thought that was kind of funny, but I'm not going to play it. So Stranger Things 3, the game.
What is the game? Is it a point and click or anything?
It looks like an adventure game.
It's probably fantastic, especially if you're into the show. But I'm a no because I can't like Stranger Things.
Yep. And Bill?
Well, since it's a game, no.
I like how you try to play with you a little bit. Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers. This is an online MMO deal with Final Fantasy. They put these out quite a bit. No, I'm not playing
You
that.
said Final Fantasy, and it's a no.
And Bill?
That was a no back with Sega Genesis.
Yeah, I've never. It's Final Fantasy, but Bert's the only one I know ever knew into it.
Yeah.
And of course, this one we've already played. It came out this Friday. Super Mario Maker 2. Obviously, I'm a yes. I already played it.
If I had a Switch, I'd be a yes. I don't know if I'm going to run out and get a Switch for it, but yeah, I think I'd be a yes.
Well, they got 3 Mario games at this point, or 4 Mario games. You know, they got the Kart, they got Mario Odyssey, they got the Mario regular
New Super Mario Brothers. But
Yeah,
that's a Wii U re-release.
Yeah, and then Mario Maker. So they got 4 Mario games for you. You still not gonna get that Switch?
No.
No, look at them fight it. And Bill, are you gonna play Super Mario Maker?
You know, I've always liked Mario games. If I were like at your house or something and you pulled it out, I'd play it. But I'm not gonna go buy a Switch.
Yeah. So there you go. There's some rapid fire. Not a lot. It's July. We're not gonna get a ton out in July. Yeah. Everyone's on vacation in July. So Charles, tell us about some MMA this week.
Yeah,
it has to be better than AEW.
Yeah. So and this again, ESPN got more of that UFC stuff. Gotta like it. So they actually brought. So they had an event. It was in Minneapolis, Minnesota this past week. And they actually were going to have a Tyron Woodley-Robbie Lawler fight. They both canceled that because one of the two got hurt. I believe it was Robbie Lawler got hurt. So they took this fight from the UFC 239 that I'll talk about here in a second and moved it over as the main event for this UFC fight night. So Francis Ngannou versus Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos, Steve remembers, he kind of made a comeback and looked pretty good. I got news to you. Time moved on because Francis Ngannou whooped his butt in a minute and 10 seconds, dude.
Knockout, huh?
Yeah, this Francis Ngannou guy is a freak physically. I don't know. They test these guys with USADA stuff, but man alive, I don't know where they made this guy. Like, he is like chipped out of iron somewhere. It's crazy. But dropped him convincingly. Like, Junior Dos Santos didn't know what to do. Fantastic little thing. And then Joseph Benavidez, little guys fought. He's a name that fought Henry Cejudo. He's crying out for another title shot because he already lost, but he wants another title shot because of this win. No one cares about little guys. I don't care what it is. If you're below, let's say 185, I tune you out. And that's, you know, and that's basically what it is. But now, this Saturday on July the 6th is a pretty nice UFC. So I just talked to you about how they moved one of the fights over and made the main event out of this. There's some substantial stuff going on at this UFC event. Pay-per-view 239 out of Vegas. You've got another John Jones fight versus Thiago Santos. He's going to beat the piss out of him. John Jones, if he could just stop doing coke, would be the best fighter ever in this list. he just likes to party and do kooky shit, but no one can beat this guy. It is just crazy. He beats himself. That's the only thing that, you know, he's undefeated against himself. That's about it. And then you've got a great chick fight. Amanda Nunes... Steve's a huge fan of when females fight. But you recognize these names. Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm. This is going to be a good fight, man. I think this is going to be a substantial fight.
You find it weird that the chicks always like braid their hairs and cornrows every time they go to fight?
Well, you got to keep it under control because you don't want it in your face and slopping around. Steve just hates chick fighting. I hate Marvel movies. You hate chick fighting.
Yeah,
it's okay.
There's nothing.
We don't have to agree. And then another sleeper one that's on. Ben Askren's fighting this Jorge Masvidal.
And ass grab.
He's really good. So he's in the Tyron Woodley camp. He's a former collegiate wrestler who they acquired him from another league. He's looked nothing but great since he came in and all this stuff. I think it's a pretty stacked pay-per-view coming up. I'm not going to buy it because there's no Conor McGregor on it, so I'm not going to buy it. But nonetheless, check it out. I'm going to watch some prelims early. The other thing that's funny too is Diego Sanchez is still fighting and is on this card coming up on this Saturday.
How old is he at this point?
Dude, he's got to be like 40. BV, can you research that? I'm sure you can.
I'll take
Diego
a look at
Sanchez is like he's had like 40 fights or something crazy. It's just like at some point, but he's just a psycho. So there's a lot of stuff going on in MMA. But
29 and 11. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's 37.
37 years old, still getting punched in the face. It's crazy.
I have to ask you, Charles, curiously, because you watched a little bit more of this, well, probably a lot more than this I do. Ngannou, I mean, is he the real deal, or is he just fighting guys that are past it?
I don't think that he's fighting guys that are past it, but the thing is, if you look right now, there's no one that's got a true ground game. So, like, he's coming in there with heavy mitts, and that's where it's coming at. So, like, before Junior Dos Santos can even get at him, he's throwing with such crazy power. Like, he's a legit stand-up guy, and he's just destroying fools. But the problem is there's not a lot of stuff. A lot of the top heavyweights right now are all heavy hand guys, so it's basically anyone's stuff. But he whooped him. Man, I was watching I had to watch it because we watched AEW instead, which was a mistake on our part.
Yeah.
But I watched the replay of it, and man, he just made Junior Dos Santos didn't know what was going on. It was like bell, and he ran getting thumped. It was pretty good. So I'm a big fan. Francis Ngannou is very entertaining to watch because heavy leather guys are always fun. You don't know. Someone just catches it and just gets dropped. It's great. So, but anyway, that's MMA for the week.
Yeah, much better than AEW.
Which isn't saying a lot.
Yeah. So now I don't. Are you guys familiar with Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe?
Yeah, I mean that's like the premier, photo editing software. When you say someone got photoshopped, that's where the term came from.
Yeah,
Sure.
almost like Google has become the term for searching and stuff like that. Well, in my line of work, we use it a lot. And the problem is, back in the day, you used to be able to buy an Adobe product, and then you owned it, and that was it. You
now it's all suite-based, isn't it?
Yes. So a great example of that is Adobe. Their main designer package is $60. Oh, Bill
just passed out.
$60 a month.
No, the mic fell over.
$60 a month to use
60
that.
per month. So you're talking about $720 a year.
Yeah, and back in the day, you could buy the program for that. So, that's just 1 year,
Well, that's like, so I edit the YouTube videos on Power Director, knowing that I don't want to use Premiere.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we're always looking for alternatives. Now, I found the two best alternatives. This is called Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. This is a British company. Basically,
Affinity, not Infinity with an A, right? Yeah. So
Affinity.
Affinity.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, I just want to clarify that in case anyone's Googling it.
Yeah, it's $60, but they always have coupons for like 20-30% off. You pay $60 once, and that's it. It's yours for life.
But I thought, and again, I could be wrong here. So I thought the big thing with Adobe stuff is all the plugins.
No.
Okay.
No, with the big thing with the Adobe is why updates. They're going to give you tons of updates, but there's only it's almost like Xbox or Windows where there's updates all the time, but really there's only one useful update every once in a blue moon. That's all there really is. I mean, once you
and then most time when they get the major updates, that's the next release.
Yeah. So there's nothing that's gonna. Infinity Designer, they were made. It's a complete ripoff of Photoshop, which is fine by me because I pay $60 to use it.
Does it bring in port natively and all that kind of stuff?
It does all that
and
stuff. And one of the coolest tricks it has is called In Paint. So I can take a picture of this room, right? Okay. And then I take this marker, and it's called the In Paint marker, and I can highlight you.
Okay.
And it'll just take you out of the picture, and it'll fill in the background.
With what?
I don't know how. It's magic.
I was gonna say.
I don't know anything in Photoshop that does that.
Do you have two? So do you have to have two reference photos? You and the fiction?
No. I take a picture of this. I'll show it to you at home.
Oh my god!
It blew my mind because I got a workbook with it to show me some of the
cool.
things it does, and most of it's feature for feature right with Photoshop.
Yeah.
But that one thing, that In Paint thing, like we could take a picture of that wall, right? and I'll
You just
highlight
crop out the whatever.
I'll highlight the
poster.
steakhouse guy.
Yeah.
And it'll process in 2 seconds. It'll be gone. Just be blue wall there, and it'll look like it was never there. It blew my mind when how easy.
Does it
was.
look legit?
It
too?
looks legit too.
Wow.
I was like, wow.
I have to definitely see that.
Yeah, I'll have to show it to you. It's a cool.
I got a lot of wedding photos.
You need a
that I
lot of
need
people. Is there a fat guy standing in them? You got to get rid of. But yeah, it's really cool. But I mean, $60. That's it. You don't have to keep paying monthly. I don't want to talk about a lot of web developer stuff. I don't want to bore people, but if you're looking for alternatives, and I know there's a lot of students out there who I got to do Photoshop, I can't afford it. Affinity Photo.
Well, that's where
same
the
thing.
Adobes come along. They try to give you student editions.
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that
But the
kind of
minute
stuff.
you're out of school, that price goes shooting. There's a little bit of a learning curve. So some of the shortcuts are a little
I was
different.
gonna say a little different.
But an hour with it, you play around with it.
Is there a
you'll
lot
have
of?
it
Is
down.
there a community attached? So like Power Director that I use, there's a great community attached to it. A bunch of cheap people who don't want to pay for Premiere.
Oh yeah.
Is there a good community attached to it? 'Cause that would be my thing.
Even on their own website, there's forums, there's
Okay.
videos. You can find stuff everywhere.
All
I
right.
bought the workbooks, which were cheap. Well, actually, Randy bought them for work because we switched over from Adobe.
So, and not whatever. I don't want to. I don't pretend to know how VR Metro works, but like, isn't the Photoshop for Randy a business expense?
Yeah, but he doesn't want to pay it.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
what? Okay.
If we can save money, you can save money. That's what it ends up being.
Okay, great.
It works just as good as Adobe. So
I don't know. Okay.
I don't like to bring up a lot of the stuff I do.
I'm not
all
a
the time,
small
but-
business owner, but
yeah.
that seems a little backwards. But
But
Would
hey,
you think you could write that off? Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Okay. Randy cooks the books at VR Metro. Steve doesn't know. We'll continue on.
He does what he does, but if I can save money, it looks good for me, and everything's switched over.
Yeah.
But I mean, $60 a month is ridiculous. Why can't I just buy the program? I know everything's switching to services, and we got to pay monthly and everything else. But it's just a little look. Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo. If you're
Affinity with an A.
looking for, yeah,
AFF.
if you're looking for an alternative to Adobe, I highly recommend those two. Those are the ones I recommend. And then
Now, this next review, me and you went to.
yeah, and I just wanted to put it on there just because we want to show them some love. It's a little mom and pop shop in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
So hold on. So Steve is attached. Steve, late in life, decided to get go back to hobbies from our youth.
yeah.
Steve started to do some hardcore like modeling, like doing not like sexy
Yes.
picture
No.
modeling.
I model also. I
Yeah,
get in my underwear.
Tell
and I
by
take
looking
pictures.
at you, but no, building models like plastic sprue-based models
Yep.
and all this kind of
Yep.
stuff, and he's into it. So he hit me up that he found this mom and pop shop in Ypsi called
Model Cave, and we wanted to put him on the podcast because I am truly impressed by that place.
That place was legit, dude. I went with you, and I was super impressed by
It's
it.
a small place, probably about the size of a Hot Topics, but they have shelves of models
And they're
from the floor
categorized, too.
to the ceiling, competitively priced
Yeah.
with the online prices, and just a shitload. I can see myself going back once a month to get me a new.
What
model
was the
every
lady's name who was working there?
Ooh,
Marissa or something like
something
that?
along that line. Little
She
old
was
lady.
super nice.
Got an old dog. What was the dog?
Benito.
Benito the dog.
Benito the beagle.
He was 15 years old. He comes waddling out.
Like, if you're into this hobby with Steve at all, I don't know how you found our podcast or whatever, but I'm telling you, man, it was an old school throwback type place, and the lady working there was super nice, super, handled our stupidity when we went rolling in there. They also had. She could explain to Steve why he couldn't find certain paints that he was looking for and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, she was next level, man. I was totally impressed by the place.
Yeah, and it's a niche thing. Like Charles Loves Leather, and there's leather shops and stuff like that. And when you go to these places, you hope, one, that their prices are somewhat competitive.
Yeah.
Two, they have a good selection, and three, they know what the fuck they're talking about. Right? Those are the three things you're hoping for when you go to these places. And this place had all three.
Model Cave checks
Model
all
Cave,
those boxes.
Ypsilanti, Michigan. If you're into models and a big dork like myself, they're not toys. They're models.
Yeah.
All right? But yeah.
And again, pick her brain when she was there.
Yeah.
Super impressive, man. Me
Yeah,
and Steve
nice
both
place.
left that place. We're like, yes, big thumbs up.
Yeah, I've been to Ryder, I've been to Nankin Hobby, I've been to a lot of local hobby shops, and nothing comes close to this.
And the
place.
thing that struck us was they had there's nothing else in the building. There's
Yeah,
no radio controlled cars. There's no.
No,
I mean,
it's
it's just
models.
model crafting is all it is.
Yeah. They got one thing and one thing only.
And again, the chick who's working there is like an encyclopedia. It was crazy.
It was pretty good, and it was very entertaining. I wanted to give him a big shout out on the podcast, and we'll link to it on our Facebook page as well. Because I think they need some promotion. They've been there 9 years since 2010.
She said
it
it was about 9 years because we asked her how long they'd been there and stuff like that.
So nice place, and
it's worth the trip. We came in from Dearborn to Ypsi, that half-hour trip, and it was worth it. I think every bit of it. So,
Bill, when you back in the day used to play guitar a lot and stuff, did you have any kind of like a niche shop or something you used to go to get some like hardcore sheet music or stuff that what you couldn't find in other places?
Well, I was never that hardcore into it, but we had a friend of the family that periodically would be in certain shops, and so usually with those, I mean, you go places where there's more selections. I know for a while I would go to what the hell name is that called? What was the music? Remember the music store that was on Southfield?
Marshall Music.
Marshall. Was it Marshall?
Marshall that was right at Allen and Southfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Marshall Music.
Okay.
You had the big.
And then later on, I go to like There was a Mars Music for a while that was down in further north.
Did you ever go to that old place in Southland that was there for years and no one was ever in with all the instruments and stuff? What the hell was
Well,
that?
I walked in there. That piano place. It was around the corner down by J.C. Penney.
Yeah, no one ever was in there.
Wurlitzer place?
Wurlitzer.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I've been in there. Yeah.
I think
They wanted like a lot for their stuff. Like their guitar selection was pretty. I mean, they wanted premium prices too. So.
Yeah.
When was the last time BV actually got into a hobby? Like, do you have time for hobbies at this point in your life, BV?
I need to make time for hobbies. I find myself because the hobbies I had before, I'm not really into as
Bill's
much.
hobby is fucking.
Oh man, just straight boning. 2 a.m. BV over here.
Yeah, I need to find some hobbies, and more importantly
Happy
than just
birthday,
finding
baby.
hobbies. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna just gleam past the whole fucking hobby, but but no. See, the problem with me is that I get into hobbies that end up being competitive.
You can't just
And
enjoy
then
them
it
for what
becomes-
they
then
are.
It becomes too much like a competition, and it's got like a short shelf life.
Like golf and poker and stuff like
Yeah, like I need to find some hobbies that I can get into that are just
Pick up and put down kind of hobbies.
that I can just enjoy and not have to.
that. Smoke meat.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of passively looking for things.
Well, but and Steve's kind of touching on it. The biggest thing with any kind of conversation like that, being 40, 45 years old or whatever.
44, cocksucker.
I'm sorry, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, 43, motherfucker.
Yeah. The nice part about it is, and that's what the model cave really nailed. If you can find a place that's into what you're into, and that community
helps.
of it is pretty big, man. Like, and that's what was so impressive to me.
Like she gave me a flyer for the model show.
Yeah,
that's
the
coming up
model
in
show.
November. I'll
Like,
go to that.
she's into that whole community that was about it. It was just a super nice place. And I think that's key. Like when I went to the Tandy Leather place, the knowledge of those guys there, and then like, because sometimes you walk in and like, you know, we happen to live in an age where you can get into these random hobbies like this, like leather crafting and doing all this kind of stuff. But like, sometimes it's almost overwhelming when you go into these stores. But like anyone that's cool enough to take 20 minutes and kind of BS with you a little bit and kind of point things out that you might not have noticed. And that's really what the model cave was. That chick is, you could put a quarter in her and just watch her go. You know what I mean? It was really cool.
Was it just 100% models? And
That's it.
That's it.
No radio control, no nothing.
It was
so
like
there
a
wasn't even like a what was that other place that we used to go
Riders
to?
is what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
No.
they'd have like because I always
So
Go in those
imagine you went to like a guitar shop that didn't sell drums. It didn't sell. It was,
Yeah, it was just
just
nothing but
guitars.
guitars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wall
that's
to wall guitars.
kind of what Model Cave was.
It was impressive, dude. It was legit impressive.
Yeah. So there you go. And Bill's looking for a new hobby. So any suggestions, please give them to us on our Facebook. Bill's always eager to learn new things.
Oh yeah.
You ever
I'm sure
thought
those
maybe
would
you
be
have too many
positive.
hobbies, Charles?
Dude, I love hobbies. I do.
Is there a
What
point in
what
life
are
where
you
you say
doing
you have
now?
too
Are you-
many?
I'm
you
leather
doing leather
crafting, yeah, dude.
What? First of all, what is leather crafting exactly?
It's literally getting like raw material of
He buys
leather.
a cow and skins it in the
Yeah,
backyard.
and then
It's the
I
weirdest thing.
tan my own leather. No, I'm kidding.
And he throws the meat out. That's
But
the
like
most depressing part.
I want to make, and I already made the one DOP kit last week and stuff like that. Like I want to make like things that I wear and use in my life out of leather, and that's what I'm doing. So
Including
like,
thongs.
including my thong. and all my sex toys are made out of leather. And that
Takes a
is
while to
just
get that smell
it's.
out.
I think it touches on like my ability to like Steve was talking about like with models and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it also just touches on like the tools and all that kind of stuff that I kind of got to later in life. It's super cool to me. I'm just into it right now. But 6 months from now, I'm into something totally different. So that's how I roll. It's like Steve's ripping on me for, but I love it. I just love to get. I love.
You gotta
to-
limit your hobbies.
No, man, I can't get enough of it.
That's what you
funny.
call too much disposable income.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
God damn it, Charles. Like
Love it.
Brandon always said, we need a Marky boys need poverty.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, so there you go. Now, Bill, do you like a good chicken sandwich?
Yeah.
Do you
Who
like
doesn't?
one from Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A is damn tasty.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Charles doesn't approve. But
I do
other
not approve of Chick-fil-A.
there is a company or a foundation called ACSI. I forgot to write what it stands for. But they do surveys of all the local fast food and everything like that. And for the 4th year in a row, Chick-fil-A is one of the most highly approved fast food restaurants
except
in
on
the country.
Sundays when their weirdly religious, kooky fucking family that owns this place won't let them stay open. But continue.
But
Hate this
I
place.
thought you liked when it
I just
stayed
love-
non-political.
any kind of
sorry.
fucking Chick-fil-A article I can find. I love putting it on there.
I
'cause Charles
hate
gets
it.
so
I
hated.
hate this place.
And
Apparently,
are
Get
you
a
talking about the
spicy
American
chicken.
Customer Satisfaction Index, Steve?
yes, that's what it is. You found the article, Bill.
Whatever, dude. It's one of the
No,
most
no, I just
overblown places
Googled
on the
CSI.
planet.
Yeah. So they beat out everybody. Panera Bread was strangely number 2 on the list.
People love some Panera.
Yeah, but
I
Chick-fil-A.
tell you what, for as much as you pay at Panera Bread, it better be number 2 on the list. Dude, me and Heather ate there with Lauren. It was $36.
Woo,
I was like, dude, that's a
Damn.
sit-down meal, man.
near the bottom of the list was McDonald's.
That's because there's so
ironically
many places, though.
enough. Yeah, and so many dirty ones.
I'm just telling you, man. I think that
I love
being-
throwing a Chick-fil-A article. out
being
to fuck with
homosexual is
Charles.
not a choice. It is not something you were born that way. I don't
I
want to
just like the
judge.
chicken, man. I don't know. I don't
Dude,
do it
I'm
for
just saying,
their
kooky
politics.
shit. I'm not down with it. I don't like Chick-fil-A.
This is kind of like the knee, the taking a knee thing in football. Just serve me the damn sandwich. I don't care about the
Yeah, but
politics
I got
around it.
news for you. The minute they close on Sunday, BB, they're not just serving you the sandwich. They're
They
making
closed on Sunday long before the whole.
they're but
ish came
that's
up.
but why do you think they close on Sunday, BB? That's God's day.
Well, they're religious.
So I'm out. Is what I'm trying to tell you. I have a
'cause
choice.
I don't care
where
about the. I don't care about.
I'll
the
go to
religious,
Wendy's and buy a
political beliefs.
spicy chicken
I
there.
care about
I don't like
tasty chicken
Chick-fil-A.
sandwiches.
Go to Wendy's if you.
I
like
will
a
say
chicken-
Wendy's
Dude,
spicy chicken is better
their
than
breakfast.
anything
Their
Chick-fil-A.
chicken
Dave
biscuits
Thomas
are freaking
believes in
phenomenal.
adopting kids and all that.
You've ate the Chick-fil-A breakfast?
Oh, Chick-fil-A breakfast is better than the freaking lunch.
I've never had the Chick-fil-A breakfast.
Oh, the chicken sandwich, chicken biscuit sandwich with some cheese on it. It's tasty.
Charles does not approve of this
I
at
hate
all.
this fucking place. I hate Chick-fil-A.
I
I
just
hate
love-
Hobby Lobby. I hate Chick-fil-A.
I'm guilty of Hobby Lobby. I use Hobby Lobby all
We
the
know,
time.
and then like I said, I'm just like I try not to. I don't go to Mobile because they destroyed the Gulf, and like everyone just accepts
I thought that was BP.
Well, you get what I'm. Mobile oil is all the same. I'm sure.
Only
BP.
assholes. work
That
for
would be
BP.
Exxon Valdez. And that was before they were with both. Or they were.
No, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? When they destroyed the Gulf and they had the whole thing where they ripped the whole top off the well and it was pouring into the Gulf? You forget about that already, BP employee? Let's pivot before BP gets in trouble.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to get him in trouble. But
Yeah.
I love throwing a little Chick-fil-A article
God, I
every
hate
month just to
Chick-fil-A.
mess with Charles. I think it's the best.
hate that place.
So there we go. So if you're with the rest of the country, you love Chick-fil-A.
Now, pivoting, because I didn't know who this guy was. It was all over Engadget, which is where you referenced the.
Yeah. So if my daughter, being very guilty, loves her Apple products. Bill, do you have any Apple products besides actual apples?
I do not.
I was gonna say, I think
No.
he's a
Do that on
Samsung
purpose. I do
guy,
not
aren't
use
you?
Apple products.
Oh, wait. On purpose, you don't use Apple products?
Yes.
What? Wait, what? Just give you the damn phone, BV. Why don't you?
Oh, well, because I like things I can integrate together, and since everything else is PC integrated or Android, I just stick with that platform. I did have one Apple phone for work that I just didn't care for. So
I just don't.
yeah,
like the
I'm
douche tax.
fine with the
the douche tax.
I have a Samsung Tab tablet, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
So, well, the big thing about Apple is they're always sleek and cool looking, right? That's one of their big selling points, actually.
They have an aesthetic. They have a definite aesthetic.
And the guy who designed that aesthetic is Johnny Ive.
All the way back to like the OG like iPod.
Yeah.
How much is this guy worth, by the way? If he's the one who designed all this crap.
Yeah, he worked with Steve Jobs and helped design all this crap.
So he's leaving?
He's leaving Apple, but he's leaving to start his own company
that will sell designs back to Apple.
Yeah, so it's probably it's a money move most likely.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And he's going to be really raking Apple over the coals.
But at the same time, too, so if I'm a Sony, I can go to this guy's firm and get them to design the new PlayStation or something like that, right? He's not beholden to just Apple design.
Yeah, by doing his own company now, he can work for other companies.
That's a big move, I'd say.
We'll see if other people come running with a paycheck for him.
Do you think, and let me ask a question here, and as we're three tech gurus here, do you think that people buy Apple just because of the way it looks or the way it runs?
At this point, they buy it because of the brand. I don't think
you think the brand is.
I think originally it was looks.
You don't think it's the way it performed?
Never. Never.
What about the iPod? I mean, the iPod was game changing. The first iPhone and how it worked was game changing.
But even at the time, there was other MP3 players would do more than the iPod would, and it wasn't half as restrictive as the iPod was when it came to music rights.
I don't know, man.
Everything Apple does is sleek and cool. And everything PC does isn't as sleek, but does 3 times more stuff.
To BV's point.
Yeah, so go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, 90% of consumers don't really know or care about actual performance.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are going to crap on me, but I've been using an iMac at work for over a year, and it's the most nerfed damn PC I've ever used, and I've shelved it to the side to use my laptop.
But then they would say that you got to come out of pocket and go up the scale.
Well, then that's ridiculous. Why do I got to spend $5,000?
I'm not a Mac house. I'm not here to justify that.
I'm just saying.
But I have definite issues in the Android universe because, like I said, like it's so Wild Westy that like
that's true.
The one thing I'll say in defense of all things Apple, it just kind of works, if that makes sense. Like Android sometimes, man, like, well, hold on, I don't have this Snapdragon that goes, you know what I mean? Like it's a little too annoying, but I'll tell you what, it's a big move to have the guy who designed like AirPods and all that kind of stuff and then Watch to go and do his own thing. I mean, I would say.
And how many people are you taking with him when he leaves Apple?
Yeah,
probably all their designers.
I agree with you. I think it's more of a money move. So now I can leave Apple and then sell Apple's design back to Apple. It's pretty big deal.
The other thing that's kind of pissed me off is Microsoft's taking up some of that look over, like that big Microsoft tablet. It's like $4,000, and it's not even half as powerful as it should be. And so Microsoft.
But the thing about the Microsoft stuff, though, too, is there's always, and to BV's point, there's another company doing something similar to it that probably is a more reasonable price tag. Yeah. Whereas with the Mac devices, there's no other company. So
I thought that was interesting with Apple. We'll see if it affects any of their sales or looks of new products. So keep an eye peeled next year when they start announcing new iPhones if they look a little different. Now, Bill, are you still a big fan of EA Sports and EA games pretty much?
No, not really.
Okay, got that going for you. Live has fell off the face of the earth. The hockey's still pretty solid. And Madden, it's your only game in town if you want to play football, essentially. So...
I mean, essentially, it is. What are you talking about?
Well, there's some whack alternatives. You can get like a Super Tecmo Bowl. It's crap. There was an All-Pro football that came out not too long ago. That was crap. I mean, but basically, NFL. If you want NFL, it's bad, and that's it. So EA Access, which I tried out on Xbox, is coming finally to PlayStation 4. PlayStation
EA
4
Access now, if I pay nominally a month, I get access to their library of current games?
No, not current. Nowhere close to current.
So why do I care about this?
If you haven't played a lot of EA games, that's
old EA games are shit, though.
Well, they got. If you haven't played them, there's a lot of them. Like,
you're talking about Electronic Arts, not just EA Sports.
Yeah. It's not just sports. It's everything.
I'm like, whoa, why am I playing?
I mean, you got.
So I can play the Mass Effect games for the 55th time.
Or you can play the Dragon. What do they call them? Dragon's Age Origins.
Great.
Dead Space.
I can get those for like a nickel.
I know. I'm just saying. Well, the price is only $30 for the year.
That's not bad.
And the one I played on it. Because remember, I signed up for it back in fall, and then I canceled it, but I still got it for the rest of the year. I got to play the hockey basically for free. I did play the newest hockey on it, but it didn't show up. And so the hockey is released in fall. It didn't show up until March.
Yeah.
So you're not if you sign up for EA Pass, you're not getting Madden 2021 or whatever we're on right now. That's not coming. So they don't give you the brand new sports games. They still want you to buy them. So if you haven't played any of the old EA games, if you're itching to play Madden 16, go ahead and sign up, I guess. But
great.
I tried it out. I played about 4 or 5 games. Nothing groundbreaking.
At least it's not too expensive. Like I said, $3 a month or whatever.
$30 for the
$250 a month.
They couldn't charge more. But now this last one kind of leads into my next question on the rant. But Budweiser is trying to be the official beer of esports. So esports is getting big enough now that big companies like Budweiser are trying to be the sponsors and official drinks of them. I thought Monster would probably be.
Here's where I'm growing out of touch. We've had Holly on this podcast to talk many times about how I am out of touch. Holly reminds you on a regular basis that you are out of touch.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
I don't like to watch people play video games. I just don't. To me, again, and we've had this conversation on this exact podcast, but like, I can't go out and play football. But I can go and play whatever game I'm watching someone play. That's still my whole crux on all this stuff. And you're going to talk about it in a rant here in a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't get the culture. I don't understand why I'm going to watch someone play Overwatch or why I'm going to watch someone play Street Fighter when I can go and do that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think it's just a generational thing. Bill, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess I'm the ultimate out of touch then, because this to me, I mean, the fact that esports as a television product or as a spectator, first of all, the fact that they're actually calling it sports in the first place is an insult to sports.
Should be
but the fact that this has become like a spectator event and it's getting just goes to show you how far out of touch with what I know of reality that people have become. It's like Charles said, it's one thing. I'll watch football because, I can't go do that. But yeah, I might not be like the greatest throw your whatever game is popular, ability. I can't play it well, but I could go buy the game and I could play it. And that would be more entertaining than flipping on television and watching a bunch of guys, 4 guys sitting in front of a screen going nuts and
because I'll tell you this now, to your point with this Budweiser thing, I've talked in the past how Overwatch League is on ABC, so they're televising it on legit networks.
It's on TBS a lot too.
Yeah, I get it. So I get why Budweiser's
part of it somehow.
I just somehow, man, I'm lost. Like I like YouTube. I can't watch YouTube 24/7 like the current young kids. I don't.
Yeah.
I watch it for a leather crafting video or to learn a tip or a trick, and then I go and do it. I don't understand why I want to watch someone cut kinetic sand all day. Is what I don't understand.
Yeah,
like you wondered as kids.
Get off our lawns.
Yeah, like how at some point you just realize like this isn't for me and it's not meant for me, and I'm just kind of out, and that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. Myself being a video game player, you occasional video game, Bill, we kind of should be into it, but
should we?
I don't know. Well, I'm just saying I'm not either. I can't. I tried, and it's just terrible. Now, the only exception I'll give you this is like we just had it with the Mario Maker where we can't get past a level.
That's more of a tutorial.
And I'll watch a guy beat the level and figure it out.
Totally different conversation.
Yeah.
That's
that
like,
I will
again,
watch.
At any hobby, going online and getting someone getting a skill off of it. So if you're watching an esports because you're trying to understand how, I don't know, Ghost 22 does so well in Overwatch, I get it. But like I would argue that like then, so the way you should be watching it is I'm playing Overwatch and then I'm kind of watching it like we talk about, throw it on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just sit down and watch it. I don't get it.
I have found myself that EA puts on a big tournament with Madden, and I have watched a couple final games of that. It's just one game of Madden.
But in your head, don't you probably just want to see what they're doing? Is that more what you're using it as a tutorial?
And don't listen to this, Randy. It's usually at work. And it's on one of my second screens, and I'm doing something else. So it's just
I've already gone on about him being cheap at Premiere.
I know.
Randy's going to fire you.
Yeah, I know. It's coming. But that's when I've seen it. Yeah, usually I watch it to see what kind of gameplays they're doing.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
It's always running circles and chuck it deep, and it drives me nuts.
The way I
glitch,
understand it, though,
motherfuckers.
in esports, they're just watching a match. It was amazing to see a match, and I'm like, to me, it's amazing to play a match. Go and play a match.
What about, forget the esports angle, what about like the Twitch and the mixers, where a guy just sits down for 4 hours playing Mortal Kombat 11?
Okay, now I'll give you that. If
Could you watch that?
I could watch that if Mortal Kombat 11 comes out next week and
No,
Mortal
this
Kombat
game's-
kicked him an early copy. That's like where Giant Bomb does a lot of stuff. They'll do you a quick
That's
look
different.
on something coming out. If you want to see what the game
I'm
is,
talking
but
about a
me and
live
BV are
stream.
kind of on the same page. Hold on, I can go play Mortal Kombat. I'm just going to go play Mortal Kombat. I don't understand why I would watch someone do something I could do right now.
Gameplay footage is a little different than watching a live stream. What were you going to say, Bill?
Well, to your point though about how we should be into this, right? Some of the most boring times that I can remember hanging out with you guys was back in the earlier days when you'd go over and say you and Bird or 2 or 3 of you guys were sitting there going through some game I'd never heard of, and you literally just spend there. I mean, you're talking about stuff, but you're just sitting there watching 2 of you try to figure out some freaking role play game or something like that that goes for hours and hours, and you're telling me now I'm supposed to like
You
turn on
seek
TV
that
to
out,
watch
yeah.
people play video games
Yeah.
that I'm not playing and I'm not really invested in. I'm not getting tutorial like Charles. I'm not getting any sort of special tips on how to play a certain level. You're just watching what the best video game players compete against each other. That'd be great if I was watching an actual sport or something that required an actual skill that was beyond just, hey, I can click these buttons and I know this game better than someone else. How has it ever been fun to watch other people play video games live on TV or otherwise? If we've gotten to this point, how long is it going to be now before that pendulum swings so far to the other end that the quality of real sports suffers because this is what people find entertaining now?
Yeah.
It makes me really nervous about the future.
Well,
We'll probably be dead before that.
But to be, you
hope
never
so.
know, man. The world moves quick now. But like to BV's point too, there's a lot of like YouTube videos that are extremely popular that
oh yeah, PewDiePie comes to mind.
The PewDiePie thing, not even that. Like the one kid who got the Walmart thing where he was just opening toys.
Oh yeah.
That is so like that. I don't understand. Like to me, it's a generational difference, man. Like I'm just like, why? I get it. Like okay, it'd be neat to see like an LOL doll that you don't know what it is, and he got that one. But that would mean I just scrub to the end and see what they got and keep it
and I said
moving.
it for 5 minutes.
I don't know, man. There's a difference in this world.
So how big do you think this esports is going to be within the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think?
I don't think it's going to be as what BV's referring to. I just don't. I think that it's one of those things. It's like Bitcoin, where everyone's convinced it's the next big thing, but it's so volatile. It's like, like in other words, like 1 minute it's like, dude, you got to see what's going on. This isn't Korea. But then again, in Korea, like bow and arrows are huge in Korea. Like people doing archery is a big deal. Yeah. So, it's cultural differences. But I don't subscribe to the theory that it's going to take over. I know what BV's saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's saying that directly, but he's just talking in generals. But I'm just saying, like, I don't feel like esports because, like you said, I get why I watch golf is because I can't go and play at Muirfield this weekend. You know what I mean? Like I can't do it. But I tell you what, I'm not going to watch you play Tiger Woods in golf when I could just go and get the game. I don't get it.
I think America is a whole country of what's hot right this minute, and right now that's kind of hot. I mean, how much stuff over our lifetime we've seen? Like a great example, my wife and her love of cupcake stores, and there was a cupcake store on every block. Now you can't find a cupcake. Scrapbookings, another one comes to mind. It was everywhere. I think this
you
is
already
kind
hit
of that.
me with it. I'm just as guilty. So like I love to get different hobbies and different skills.
Yeah, but yours is usually mainstream.
We're talking about hobbies and skills.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like the nice part is, and the one it's kind of a catch-22. We live in a world now where like if you see something, if you want to go do it, man, there's information on how to go do it, like within a few keystrokes. Like we joke at BV being our our research analyst, but like that's how amazing the world is. If you saw something neat, like why does that car look like that? You could Google it in 20 seconds and find out why. You know,
I think esports is kind of like a niche sport, kind of like racquetball was in the 80s.
Yeah.
From my understanding, back in the 80s, everyone had a racquetball court and had a good racket. And now it's just a fat loser and his boss playing racquetball. I think everything goes up and down.
The thing is with what you just said, though, too, is it doesn't make it any less fun. So if it's what you're into, it's what you're into, and that's kind of the neat part.
And you'll find, like you said, on the line stuff with people that are into it. But
I think it's more Bitcoin. So you get like a Budweiser who's into it, but Budweiser's got to run. Budweiser, as we know from our Robinhood guy, publicly traded company. Yeah. They got to figure out a way. Okay, so how do I get my non-craft beer in front of millennials who only want to drink craft beer?
Yeah, and I heard
they're into video games. Yeah, so they're like, well, we got to become the official, so that. And some analyst somewhere sitting in an office going like, what are the young kids into these days? Twitch streams. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that tone deaf kind of like, I don't know, man. The world's weird at times too. When you start like analyzing and really looking at things like, what's the real get behind Budweiser doing that? You know what I mean?
Well, it's always money with Budweiser, but
because they're a publicly traded company and earnings overall were down, and then stock prices went down, and I'm sure BV can elaborate on stuff like that. Working for big oil like BV does.
They've got to get somebody to listen to buy that, what's that fucking beer in its organic form. That's stuff that they, that chick whispering and everything. And it's marketing to the, to the demographics they're trying to get a bigger foothold into. It makes sense from that standpoint. It's just, I just hope that the people that are into this, I think the heavily into the YouTube and this esports, I hope at some point they're also learning some at some point the world is going to, because not very few of these people are actually going to make livings off of this. I hope at some point that they're also getting other skills, like the less exciting ones, the ones that actually help them.
Got a lot of mom's basements out there. They're
support themselves.
For every big one, every PewDiePie you see, there's 50 idiots.
I mean, as we sit here and talk on our podcast through the Facebook, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're just as guilty of it.
But we have careers and a job.
Yeah, this is true too. I'm not trying to monetize it and all that. I don't need that.
There's
kind
a lot
of
kids with that dream now. It's like,
and from what I gather too, I believe that like a lot of things have changed. And Heather could touch better on this, being a high school teacher. I don't think that you have to have as much information stored in your own physical brain because they're saying it's so available to everyone walking around.
Right.
I believe that like school has to do almost a quantum shift of like to BV's point, like these kids, so what are you into? You know what I mean? Like, so you're not learning this. Well, what are you learning? Well, I'm not. I'm just watching PewDiePie. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
I'm watching Ninja over here working on Minecraft.
I don't know, man. So have you, I watched that Overwatch show. Has BV or have you watched any of these like esports like tournaments? Like you said, a Madden tournament you did.
I watched. That's usually on YouTube is where I've seen that, and then I've seen that Street Fighter thing late at night on TBS. Like I'll be watching
Evo is what you're talking about.
Well, it's not Evo. It's something
the
they
CEO
have.
thing or something like that. Yeah.
No, it's nothing to do with either one of them. It's some esport. Shaq's part of it somehow.
Okay.
And TBS puts it on. It's late at night on like a Friday. Right. I have a tendency. I'm either playing a video game or doing a model. And I'll turn my TV on and
throw it on there.
I put Big Bang Theory on all the time.
Okay.
And TBS runs a lot of replays of that. And all of a sudden that'll stop, and then esports will come on. That's how it's not because I'm looking for it.
But think about what that demographic is to BV's point of like getting a foothold. So like you're like an older 20s, young 30s something. You like video games, so throw on the StarCraft tournament after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just weird, man.
And they don't know what to do yet. Like they got 3 announcers that are doing.
They don't know what the format.
They don't.
Is.
Yeah, it's annoying. I couldn't. I made one episode of it in my head.
Because that's kind of my whole thing with like not to pivot in a different direction, but like you take like a Ninja Warrior, like okay, you see one guy run the course.
Yeah.
Unless someone's gonna break a leg, I am so fast to fast forward in that show because I'm like,
that show,
it's an amazing feat of strength, but like I saw it happen a million times. Like at this point,
that's one thing that Wipeout got right because they went for the humor in it.
Yeah, Wipeout's a fantastic show.
That the humor made it last longer.
What's that?
MXC.
Most Extreme Challenge, man. You don't remember that? Yeah. How dare
you guys.
Diablo
but-
douche.
yeah. So to the point, though, that it was more like people just. So, like you said, like if you watch someone, and BV even kind of alluded to it, watching you guys play as young, how do you make it entertaining? I don't know how you do.
I don't either. But it must be working because the esports are getting bigger and bigger, and more celebrities are getting into
But
it.
it could be a Bitcoin thing again,
Yeah,
like I
well,
kind of
yeah,
alluded to, where it's getting bigger and bigger because corporations are saying it's getting bigger and bigger
yeah,
too.
but is it really?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
It's
to
almost.
say.
It reminds me a lot of like the early 2000s with poker. Remember how
Yeah,
every asshole in the
yeah,
world?
yeah, all of
It was
a
on
sudden-
ESPN all over the
Yeah.
place.
Perfect analogy.
And now you can't find poker anywhere.
Yeah, and then
unless you go to a local casino
but
with some
the
drunks.
Poker's a perfect example too of a game that you could watch on TV. You could have played. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, why are we not?
Yeah,
You know.
and then everyone thought they were going to be the next great poker player.
And then the poker bubble burst. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
Why did in BV you were kind of into that culture pretty deep? Why
Yeah.
did that bubble burst? Like, what is your theory on that?
About the poker bubble?
Yeah.
Well, it primarily had to do with the government shutting down Full Tilt and Poker Stars.
That's really
wanna say
just
that was like
took the wind
2009.
out of it completely. Yeah.
Yeah, the UIGEA. They started enforcing the Unauthorized Internet Gaming Enforcement Act. They shut down those two. And people, I mean, I had money on both sites.
Did you lose it? Like, how did that go?
No, I kind of I'd kind of started to back off playing as much, and so I cashed. I would never leave a lot of money on there. Like when I would win a certain amount, I would pull it out, and I'd only leave enough in to. I didn't play like real high stakes or anything either. So, but yeah, I think I had like less than $100 in both sites when they
I
closed,
getcha.
but I waited a while to get repaid on both too. So,
Hit me a guy in the back.
but
alley
that's when it
somewhere.
kind of died down because then when they didn't have the online sponsors and all that, it wasn't as big, and so whereas you saw poker everywhere. I mean, it's still on. You just have to look for it now. Like, you know,
You have to be
main
into
stuff.
it. And I think Steve's
Yeah.
analogy is a good one. So if you were into esports, I feel like in about 10 years, you're going to have to seek it out. It's not
Well,
going
you have to seek it out now. I mean, midnight on
Yeah.
TBS
Well,
is not that easy
But
to
what
find.
you're saying is we're at the bottom of that hill going up,
Yeah.
and poker's on the downhill.
Yep.
But but as far as like the watchability though, the one thing I'll distinguish here is, I mean, I don't know because I haven't really watched more than a couple minutes of the esports stuff. Are the announcers able to actually
Quantify, like, what's
articulate
going
in
on,
detail the strategy and
I don't-
how they're doing?
They
a
use
certain
a bunch
thing?
of slang and shit don't make sense half the time they're
Yeah, 'cause
talking about it. And they get overly excited about stuff that doesn't look that exciting.
Steve's like, I don't know really what's going on.
yeah.
other than-
And I
'cause
play a
they're
lot of
selling
fighting
poker.
games, and I was watching this Street Fighter, and they were getting excited. I'm like, what's going on? The guy's just walking.
How do you? I mean, because you could relate the two big draws in TV poker was one. They're always playing for ridiculous stakes, and so it's like sort of in some ways sort of subliminally selling that dream that anyone can do it,
Yeah.
right? The whole anyone can win thing, because you don't have to be like a professional to pony up money to get into a tournament. The other thing is that when you could see the hole cards and whatever, you can see they can walk you through the strategy, and you can actually learn about playing the. I mean,
I would say,
particularly early on, I learned a lot about poker by watching.
but I would say that the difference is the game speed. So just what Steve's just alluding to. So in a fighting game, it goes by so quickly. How do you can give a replay and then maybe they can articulate what they want to do. But like in a poker thing, it's flowing across the table.
Slow.
Esports are moving so quickly. I don't know if they can. You know what I mean? It's like an ADD generation of the same analogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't get. I guess what I'm saying, other than just somebody finds it entertaining to watch someone else play a video game, I don't know what they're getting out of watching it.
I mean, you could learn some tricks. Like even with the Madden one, you can learn what play they're running. You can
But
learn how
don't you
they're.
feel like
But
the more
Madden's
you
also
played
slower
it, though?
moving too than
Huh?
most video games.
I would argue
but
that like
there's-
you're saying some trick. You're talking about an exploit. You could learn an exploit, but I think you could learn you could learn just as much by playing. I really
Online
do.
with other people.
That's what I'm trying to say. So
Not
like,
playing against a computer. you're
but
not
what,
gonna
but
learn
what I'm saying is like, just for example, just talking about like a Street Fighter thing. If you spent 2 hours watching a live broadcast of the best Street Fighter people in the world, I could argue that you would get more of a benefit personally playing 2 hours against competition online.
that. Yeah.
I don't. That's kind of my confusion about what this whole esport thing is. So, like, if I'm into a game that is going to be classified as an esport, like if I like Super Smash Brothers or Smash Brothers N64 or whatever it is, couldn't you have more fun playing it against for 4 hours than watching it for 8? You know what I mean?
Not these kids, apparently. They just watch it.
I guess it's just
Unless
a
they're doing like
generational
we do,
difference.
and it's in the background and they're playing at the same time.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I highly doubt it, though.
Yeah.
But I don't think, and the thing is, I don't think they're watching it on TV.
It's all
Number one.
streams. It's all
They're
streams.
watching it on Twitch. They're watching it on Mixer. They're watching it on YouTube. They're not watching it on. You ask
You're
my
talking about the
daughter,
old school generation.
they're not watching it on ABC or TNT. Like
I was just blown away that Overwatch thing was on ABC proper the one day.
Yeah, they're not watching it there. That's us. Our age is watching it there. So there you go. Just showing us how we're all old and out of touch.
Yeah, we really are, people.
We'll bring Holly back, and she can remind us of that again as soon as she becomes an ace driver. So, Bill, I'd like to thank you for being on. I know you're a very busy man on Sundays.
Yeah, thanks, BB.
Thanks for having me.
And, of course, you can catch us on Apple iTunes, Google Play, and Fat Guys Little Podcast, fatguyslittlepodcast.com. Again, we will not be on next week. We do get vacations. But Charles is going to tell us all about the West Coast when he gets back. He's going to go on the Oregon Trail.
And then I can also I can probably have a little more time with my e-vehicle that I recently purchased. And I'll kind of go into that a little more.
He can talk about his golf cart. I will talk about Samurai Showdown.
So
we got some things coming there. And, of course, Bill, any updates on the NBA offseason right now?
Yeah.
Let me take a
check
quick
the wire, BB.
Check the wire. What's
Last second.
Quiet letter.
Let's see if there's any people joining new teams here. This one's not huge, but Ricky Rubio signed a 3-year deal to join the Phoenix Suns.
Rubio.
That's
Ruby.
He was a guy from Spain. He was a point guard for the Timberwolves. Yeah. He's now moved to Phoenix.
Yeah, Timberwolves really have nobody.
Yeah, they're just cleaning the house out. Small market team can't compete. Get that money.
So there you go. I'm your host, Steve Markey, and his co-host,
Charles.
And we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, see you.